Nebraska won the toss and elected to defer. So Michigan State will start on offense in front of 86,000. Michigan State, the 10th unbeaten team to play here in November. The last time a top 10 team visited was Kansas State back in 1999. R.J. Shelton is deep. Drew Brown will kick off. And this will be a touchback, sailing out of the end zone. It will come out to the 25. Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville will join us in a little bit. And Brian, we mentioned Michigan State undefeated, but they've won a couple of games by a field goal. Of course, the crazy ending in the win against Michigan. They've been banged up. This is the healthiest they've been since their Week 2 win over Oregon.
Yeah, they desperately needed that bye week. They needed to get healthy first and foremost. Now you enter into November, and Mark D'Antonio loves to coin it the phrase championship month. They need Jack Allen back at center. They're going to have him tonight. And they need Connor Cook, who's really been the one that has held everything together, to have another good night. He's had 300-yard passing games in a row.
And Cook to throw on first down. Got a man. Incomplete, though. The pass a little high. Intended for R.J. Shelton. Cook is 20-1 all-time against the Big Ten. Overall, 31-3. The most wins in Michigan State history. He's had a Heisman Trophy type season with his numbers. Leads the Big Ten in passing touchdowns. And Nebraska defense has really struggled against the pass. The Spartans will run it here. Gerald Holmes getting the call through a gap at the 35. Past midfield and finally run on a play. They'll mark him out at the 32-yard line.
We've seen a lot of creativity from Dave Warner, the offensive coordinator. Take a look at the motion here. Just a little bit of distraction for linebackers, and that's when they get the opportunity to run power. Their favorite play downhill. You see Jack Allen, the All-American center, on the very first play of the game. They get him out, pull him, and get him on the second level. Very good start for Michigan State on the ground.
43-yard run for the sophomore. That was just his 40th carry of the season. Cook to the air, and the pass caught by Burbridge, but he paid for it. He got walloped at the 26-yard line, but that's a gain of 6 on the play.
You know, when you talk about Connor Cook, I think the last two games, the Indiana game and the Michigan game, when Jack Allen was not on the field, he's their captain. Connor Cook, there was a void of leadership on the field. I think Connor Cook stepped into that leadership role in the last two games. You saw emotionally in that Indiana game, him on the sideline going after guys. They're going to need him to continue that through the month of November.
Big hit by Joshua Kalu on that catch by Burbridge. Now Holmes being patient, but he stood up short of the first down marker. True freshman Dedrick Young leading the charge there at linebacker for the Huskers, so it'll bring up 3rd down for Michigan State. We'll see now if that offensive line can lean on Nebraska's D-line. There's some talent up front for the Huskers, so this play right here might give us a sense about how this night is going to go in the trenches.
It's going to be a dogfight in the trenches. There's no question. As you mentioned, Malik Collins, Vincent Valentine are two of the best defensive tackle tandem in all the Big Ten. They'll be up to the challenge tonight.
But with Connor Cook at quarterback, Michigan State not afraid to throw it a lot on 3rd down and short, and that's what they'll do here. Out of the backfield, and it is a first down. Although, as Holmes caught it, he actually stepped back. Let's see now if they give him forward progress or not. No. He had the first down. He stepped back, and then Jonathan Rose made a very good open field tackle. So it is a 4th down.
Wow. And you saw the officials, both officials, communicating. Dedrick Young had a chance to get him down for bring up a 4th down, and there he is. He gets hit right at that 22-yard line. It looked like. Be interesting.
So it's 4th down. Now Michigan State not even thinking about a field goal. Mark D'Antonio going for it here. Never a doubt in his mind. And this is different than, back when D'Antonio started, coming from the defensive side of the ball. In these situations in the past, he might kick a field goal 5-6 years ago, but with This offensive line, Connor Cook at quarterback, we're going to go for it.
I think he realizes that he's coming into a situation here with a wounded Nebraska team that wants more than anything to get out from underneath these 5 losses by 13 points, and that he wants to take any kind of momentum out of their sails early in the game. Shift over the offensive line. Now Brian Allen will snap the football.
That's Jack's brother, so they go unbalanced and hand it off to Scott. He's stopped. Greg McMullen there for the Cornhuskers. A huge play for the Nebraska defense. Valentine was in there as well.
When you take a look, here comes the shift. They've done this several times this year. They just shift over. Now they want to run the football. Now take a look right in the middle of the screen. Vincent Valentine. He's the one that gets the push on Brian Allen. Remember, that's not Jack Allen. Now that's Brian Allen, who's not quite as stout as Jack Allen. And then McMullen comes in from the outside. Great defensive stand from Nebraska.
That'll inject some life in this Nebraska team with 6 losses, the most they've ever had entering November. And Tommy Armstrong, who missed last week due to injury, throws an incompletion as Westerkamp looked distracted. There was a linebacker dropping, John Reschke, and I think he got a piece of the ball. Armstrong, a junior from Texas, we mentioned, didn't play last week. That ended a streak of 22 consecutive starts. He's got turf toe, Brian. I know that's an injury you've had. It's not easy to overcome in just a week's time.
No, there's a lot of different grades of turf toe, but basically you're tearing a ligament in your big toe, and it's a very painful injury. So certainly playing on some adrenaline tonight, Tommy Armstrong.
Here's Amani Cross getting the call straight ahead. Cross is a big back at 230 pounds, and he's out to the 30-yard line for about 4. Riley Bulla, the leading tackler for Michigan State, made the stop.
Tommy Armstrong has had an outstanding season, especially statistically, Dave. I know they don't have the wins, but he's second in the Big Ten in total offense. And for them to win tonight, to upset this Michigan State team, they're going to need Tommy Armstrong to throw the football. They've struggled to run the ball, especially between the tackles because of this offensive line. There's a lot on Tommy's shoulders tonight.
He's third of the Big Ten in passing. Michigan State and a rush for Armstrong, and it's incomplete. It's intended for Sethan Carter, the tight end. Darian Harris, a captain on defense at linebacker, had good coverage, and so Nebraska goes 3 and out after turning over Michigan State on downs. Michigan State has struggled on special teams, although their biggest win came with a special teams fumble recovery for a touchdown at Michigan. They gave up a punt return and kick return for touchdowns. Their field goal kicker has struggled. We'll see if Kings can get off a return here. It's an excellent punt. Kings from his 20 makes the first man miss. And gets knocked down short of the 30-yard line. 50-yard punt and a return of about 7 yards. Inside the 25-yard line when the Spartans went for it on 4th and 1, and they were stuffed at the line of scrimmage. True freshman L.J. Scott in the game at running back for Michigan State on first down from the 28-yard line. And it's play action. Cook looking downfield, got a man. It's overthrown, incomplete. Intended for Monty Medeiros at the 30-yard line.
Take a look at tonight's Impact Players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We've already talked about one of them, Jack Allen, the All-American center, finally back after missing 2 games. It's going to be a great matchup. I love these matchups in the trenches. Offensive center against a defensive tackle in Malik Collins, who's an outstanding player, right in the middle of your screen all night. Be fun to watch.
Another pass play for Cook, and that was a dangerous throw. That was well read by the defense. It was intended for L.J. Scott. It's 3rd and 10.
We saw Michigan State get a little bit cute on that 4th down attempt, and to the point where, why did they need it, Brian? And this is something where you can just line up, you got your offensive line intact, do what you do best.
Yeah, it's a questionable call. You get Jack Allen back, let him snap the ball and run right behind him. So maybe you got a little cute certainly I don't think we'll see any unbalanced lines for the rest of this game. Big third down here.
Allen missed the last 2 games with injury. He was hurt. Injured his ankle playing left tackle. Cook throwing it deep again. Incomplete. Intended for Burbridge. Jonathan Rose, a senior from Alabama, had coverage, and so the Spartans throw it on all 3 downs, and now they got a punt.
Yeah, Jonathan Rose, been maligned. Looked like he might have got there a little early. Some pressure from Malik Collins. Just talked about him getting back there. All night, the challenge for Nebraska will be to get pressure on the quarterback. They have not been very good defensively, getting in the backfield and pressuring quarterbacks. That's why their secondary has been exposed most of the season.
They've given up 43 pass plays of 20 yards or more. As that one was nearly blocked, Hartbarger gets it away, and it's fair caught by Jordan Westerkamp at the 35-yard line. A 47-yard boot, as Williams was oh so close to rejecting that punt. But the Huskers got to like the start, especially in defense. From ages 4 to 14. Now the plane that they took, it's the same plane that chartered Michigan State down here, and the Spartan players and coaches left notes on all the seats for the kids and widows to find when they got on the plane today.
Classic.
So 1st and 10 for Nebraska. Here's Cross straight ahead. He's across the 40-yard line, picked up about 5.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's impact players presented by Chick-fil-A. Along the defensive front for Michigan State, so much is made of Shalik Calhoun and his ability to create havoc off the edge, as with Malik McDowell on the inside, but it's their importance that's going to have a huge impact on Michigan State's back end tonight.
McDowell, a sophomore from Detroit. Calhoun, a senior, 5th-year senior, as Cross fell down at the 42, only got a yard on that play. And Luke's McDowell is a guy, and people know about Shalik Calhoun, but McDowell is the guy that not enough people are talking about nationally when it comes to one of the better defensive tackles in the country.
I think he's the most disruptive one technique or zero, a guy that's going to play over the nose, inside shade of the center and the guard, and occupy double teams, collapses the pocket as well as any player in college football on the defensive front.
He's 6'6", and you would think that he wouldn't play with such good leverage, but he plays with his pads low.
Big 3rd down and 3 here for Armstrong. And he's got a wide open man. It's a 1st down. Alonzo Moore did not play last week along with Armstrong. He had a shoulder injury, but Moore is back. So is Armstrong, and it's a 1st down for the Cornhuskers. Gain of 13.
Nice job by Armstrong. He had Shalik Calhoun right in his face. They tried to block him with Newby. Just go down and find in the zone, find a vacated area. Nice job by Alonzo Moore. They're going to need him tonight. He's kind of one of their deep, big play receivers that they're going to need to open up the top of this coverage.
18th catch of the season for Moore. Armstrong with a quick pass to Westerkamp out in the flat. Good block by Stanley Morgan out there, and it's a gain of 7 to the 37-yard line.
Fellas, we're seeing a lot of rotation in the defensive back end, but you've got a couple of veterans right now, and number 7, Demetrius Cox, and Monte Nicholson, number 9, at the safety spot. Brian, a lot of guys lined up near the line of scrimmage. Nobody in the deep back end, or certainly deep half of this coverage for Michigan State.
Harlan Barnett, who's our defensive coordinator, taking over for Pat Narduzzi, has not been happy with this secondary. That's why there's been so much change in the secondary. We'll see how they play tonight.
Nebraska going to pound it here with Cross, and he's got the 1st down inside the 30-yard line. This is a Nebraska team that's upset, and I was talking to some folks down on the field, other coaches, and they say that it's the attitude of Mike Riley that has kept this team together, his positive attitude.
There's no question he's a positive guy, but you got to have something positive happen on the field to get the confidence. And really, this team, that's what they need more than anything, is the confidence that they can come out and play against a top 10 team here at home, and that bad things are not going to happen. And this drive certainly goes a long way.
They hand it off to the fullback, Andy Janovich. He breaks a tackle, and Janovich shows great balance. He's down to the 23-yard line. A safety, Cox, had to make the tackle. It's a gain of 6 yards, and it should have only gained about a half yard.
And this is the unquestioned crowd favorite, Janovich. You know, they love the fullbacks here in the heartland, and Janovich certainly fits the bill. One of the best players, pound for pound, this coaching staff says, on the entire team. One of the best special teams players as well.
He's a senior from the state of Nebraska. There are not a lot of guys from the state of Nebraska that are playing as Armstrong runs, and he gets swallowed up. Craig Evans there for Michigan State. It's a loss on the play, 3rd and long.
See, that's the type of play that you got to have on that second and to go situation, because now you're in 3rd and long. If you block that at the point of attack, that's where the value, Brian, of his athleticism, Tommy Armstrong, comes into play. Didn't get it done that time, and now they're in 3rd and long.
Yeah, that's because big Craig Evans at 320 pounds. He's hard to block one-on-one. Just made a great play.
And they can just rotate these D linemen in and out. They got such great depth. Here's 3rd and 8 for Armstrong. Going to throw it up. And Westerkamp trying to go get it. It's incomplete. 4th down. It would be about a 45-yard field goal from here. Drew Brown has the leg, and so the Cornhuskers going to try to strike first here with 3.
I want you to take a look at Jordan Westerkamp. Watch his head come around right out of his break. See how his head goes back to the quarterback? That's not what you want as a receiver. You want a receiver to run out of the break knowing that the football is going to be on the sideline. I think if he doesn't turn back and look for that ball and just sprints to the sideline, he might make that catch.
44-yard try. And it is good. Just snuck in that left upright. And Nebraska strikes first against number 7 Michigan. Throughout the state of Indiana. Sunday NFL Countdown following NFL Insiders. Big Ash, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville here in Lincoln.
Growing number of Peytons in the state of Colorado as well.
So you're seeing that in your neighborhood, huh? You didn't name your son Peyton, though. That was before his time in Denver. And Shelton going to run it out here for Michigan State. And Shelton past the 30-yard line as we check in with Adnan Burke in the studio. Well, there goes my argument of Ole Miss, if it wins the SEC even with 2 losses, getting into the college football playoff.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was buying that last week when you said that. It's certainly not buying it this week.
I got another quarterback in the game, Damian Terry. Cook was lined up at quarterback. L.J. Scott gets the call, and he pushes the pile to the 37. But that was interesting. They had Damian Terry, another quarterback, lined up at wide receiver. With Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville, Dave Pasch here in Lincoln, where Nebraska has sold out every game since 1962. NCAA record 346 consecutive sellouts. And the last time as an unranked team that they beat a top 10 squad, you got to go back to 1977. Cook to the air, and the catch made but short of a first down. Shelton stopped by Cockrell at the 41-yard line, so we'll have a 3rd down and a couple.
I like what Nebraska's doing so far early in this game defensively. Mark Banker, their defensive coordinator, has been a lot of heat on this defense the last couple of weeks, especially last week against Purdue. But forget, this defense was put in difficult situations in that game because of 5 turnovers. But so far early, they've been up to the task against Michigan State.
Yeah, Nebraska -8 overall in turnover ratio. They'll just settle for a stop and a punt here, though, on 3rd down and 3. Cook with time, everybody covered, and throws high, intended for Burbridge, incomplete. Chris Jones in coverage, and so far Cook has been off the mark. He's 3 of 8 for 9 yards.
Connor Cook's been great all year reading the field. You see he looks left, comes all the way back across the field to his favorite target, Burbridge, and that ball is just a little bit too high. Again, Nebraska playing man-to-man coverage, holding up on the back end despite the fact that they didn't get pressure on the quarterback.
Westerkamp is back. Nebraska was awfully close to blocking Hartbarger's first punt. And this is a huge punt. And it will go into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, Dave, we've talked about how many plays Connor Cook has made this year for this team. He's had some opportunities already in the first 2 drives of this game and hasn't been able to connect. That one dropped by R.J. Shelton, but they get a nice play-action look in the second series. They get both linebacker and safety to step up, and Monty Medeiros is running wide open down the field. He misses him, and then he misses that last third down to Burbridge. He needs to make those plays. He's made them all year, and he knows he just needs to settle down and begin to convert.
Half of his passes have been overthrows, but this is a guy that won a Big Ten championship, won a Rose Bowl and a Cotton Bowl, won the Cotton Bowl and come from behind fashion. Armstrong out in the flat to Moore. And Moore dropped just short of the first down marker by Tyson Smith as Moore is shaken up.
Yeah,
Michigan State continues to rotate those back-end guys with Tyson Smith on the tackle.
That's not a good sign there. Alonzo Moore was a game-time decision with a shoulder. You see that harness on the right shoulder. He had a painful injury and wanted to come out and do everything he can to help his team. They really just needed him to take the top off the defense. He's their best deep threat, and unfortunately, he looked like he came down right on that shoulder.
Last week, they lost DeMornay Pearson-L to a leg injury. And he was a guy that was a dynamic return man as well as a receiver. He's done with a leg injury.
But yeah, those 2 guys are really the playmakers and the speed on this offense. Westerkamp's more of a possession guy. So without the 2 of them, it's going to be hard for these receivers to separate for Tommy Armstrong against man coverage.
Armstrong going to throw on second and short, and Riley takes it away from the defender and still going inside the 48-yard line of Michigan State. That was a terrific catch. Brandon Riley, another guy that's been injured. He gets a big play of 23 yards.
Well, Brandon Riley said, I don't need separation. I'll just rip the ball away from Demetrius Cox. These are the kinds of plays that they're going to need to make at this position in this game because they don't have the burners on the outside to separate.
30 catches on the year for Riley. Almost 600 receiving yards. He is a big play wide out. They'll run it on first down and a hole for Cross. A gain of 7.
No, Brian, you go back to that last second and short, and it affords you the ability to take a shot through the air because you feel really good about your third down situation. So the down and distance early for this offense for Nebraska has been so advantageous for the offensive play caller.
Yeah, and they just haven't been able to run the football consistently enough, Tom, and that's what I think the biggest benefit when you're able to throw the ball and loosen it up is to be able to run the ball in between the tackles without 8 or 9 guys in the box like they had against Purdue a week ago.
Armstrong will throw it here. It's a wide receiver screen as Westerkamp gets lit up. Somehow he hung onto the ball. Darian Harris absolutely torched him, but Westerkamp hung onto it. He gets a standing ovation here at Memorial Stadium.
We see so many targetings, Dave, so many ones that are kind of questionable. Give Darian Harris credit for coming up and making a good solid tackle with his head right between the numbers. That's pretty to watch.
Third down and 4. Armstrong looking deep. Now steps up to run. Trying to get the corner. Instead he gets Chris Fry, but able to power to the 40. He'll come up short of the first down, but it'll be 4th and a yard. It looked like it was going to be about 4 and 3.
It was a great effort there by Tommy Armstrong. They were trying to throw a trick play, a throwback to a running back. It wasn't there, and Tommy Armstrong just uses athletic ability and then his heart at the end there to drive through Fry and bring up a 4th and short situation.
They bring in Janovich at 230 pounds, the fullback. The tailback is 230 pounds. The Spartans stack the box on 4th down and 1. It's Cross, and he powers past the marker. Ripped through the arms of Malik McDowell to get the first down.
This is something, Dave, that they have not been able to do consistently is run between the tackles. And just take a look. Green hats are not in the backfield. They're getting push on Malik McDowell. That's huge for Mike Riley. He knows that if we're able to get 3rd and 4th and 1 conversions, running the ball between the tackles, that's a huge advantage.
Nick Gates, the right tackle, lost his helmet on the play. So he's got to go to the sideline for a down. Corey Whitaker comes in to play right tackle. As you see the balance by Nebraska here through the opening quarter. Nearing 2 minutes to go. Armstrong rolling out. Armstrong looking downfield, and it's caught! It's a touchdown by Westerkamp. A penalty flag down, though, at the 15-yard line. A penalty marker at the 22-yard line as well. Westerkamp looked like he pushed off to get free. Here's John O'Neill.
Defense number 7. A penalty to Klein. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Now forget that. Defensive holding. And it's 9-0 Huskers.
You get a 4th and 1, and you go for it aggressively, and then you're in that red zone fringe area where so many teams love to take a shot. I love the play call by Danny Langsdorff. Get your quarterback, mobile quarterback, out on the edge. They seal Shalik Calhoun and just throw the ball up and give him a chance to make a play, because Westerkamp has been your most consistent receiver all year.
So much talk this week here in Lincoln about would Mike Riley even make it through the season? Fans frustrated. But it's a great start here. 10-0 Nebraska. Tuesday night, we've got the College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show presented by Northwestern Mutual with host Reese Davis. Don't miss your chance to see the Top 25 rankings as soon as they are out at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Definitely will be a shake-up. Week 2, TCU losing. And right now, Michigan State at number 7, down 10-0. And a pooch kick that's taken by one of the upmen of the 20-yard line. It's Delton Williams. He's brought down at the 30. That's where the Spartans will operate late in the first quarter.
Let's go back and take a look. The first thing you need to do if you're going to run a bootleg is you need to control the edge. There's Shalik Calhoun. They do a nice job. You get just enough. Carter, the tight end, gets just enough. Then freeze it there, guys. You see, he's beat here. All you need to do is give him a chance downfield. Westerkamp. And this is the struggle that Michigan State has had in the secondary. Harlon Burnett knows that he has struggled in the back end. Demetrius Cox has struggled. They're biting on routes. It's been a tough year for them in that secondary, and Nebraska is starting to take advantage.
So you had Cox, the safety that time, covering the wideout Westerkamp, and he gets the touchdown. Here's Gerald Holmes through a gap. Another big run for Holmes. He stepped out at the 45-yard line. That's a 25-yard scamper for Gerald Holmes. That's their best offense right now. Just hand it to that guy running left.
Yeah, and they get Jack Allen out. You know, take a look. He's going to come back, and then they're going to get guys out, 2 guys out, pulling in front. And why not? Jack Allen's one of your best players. He gets the block on the linebacker, and then you insert Holmes.
Cook to the air on first down. He's going to look deep. Going for Shelton. Broken up at a flag. Byerson Cockrell in coverage of Shelton will get called for interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 28. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
I think we're going to see this all night, Dave. We're going to see both quarterbacks taking shots downfield because both teams' weaknesses, their biggest weaknesses are their secondaries. And this time Cockrell, not a lot of confidence back there with the way that they've been torched this year, and he's just not in good position to look back for the football.
He did not play last week in their loss at Purdue due to a family situation. And with a penalty by Cockrell, it puts the ball at the Nebraska 30. So far, Gerald Holmes has 70 of the 82 yards of total offense for Sparty. Cook and a keep. And Cook dragged down to the 26-yard line. Here's Adnan in the studio. All right, here it's 10-0 Adnan. Nebraska on top, but the Spartans on the move. Just outside a minute to go here in the opening quarter. After a 4-yard run by the quarterback, Connor Cook. He's going to hand it off to Shelton on the jet sweep. And that was well defended. He's pushed out by Chris Jones. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
No, Brian, there's some of that creativity. Just another wrinkle in this offense. They bring him back in motion, and then it looks like it's going to be downhill power. You think things are going to be between the tackle, and they take the ball to the perimeter. Really well devised.
But that was a loss in the play, though, Luke, so it's 3rd down and 8 now.
Need to get pressure on the quarterback. It's been a struggle for Nebraska off the edges with their defensive ends. Really, where their pressure has come from has been inside with their tackles.
Spartans yet to convert on 3rd down. Here comes a blitz. Cook. The pass is high again and incomplete. It was intended for Shelton. That's another overthrow, the 5th of the first quarter by normally accurate Connor Cook.
Yeah, and he had a receiver. He had Shelton coming open. He's recognized the blitz. You're not going to fool Connor Cook. You know, he's a senior quarterback. You bring a safety off the edge. He says, big deal. You know, I got it picked up. I'm going to stay in the pocket and find my receiver. But he's been inaccurate, Dave, and that just tells me a little bit early kind of jitters here in this game.
A guy that never seems to be nervous, but maybe it's hit him tonight for some reason. Geiger from 46. And it's good. Michael Geiger, who had been up and down this year after a great start as a freshman, gets the Spartans on the board late in the first. Here's Morgan on the return. Morgan breaks a tackle and is finally chased down at the 36-yard line by the kicker, Kevin Cronin.
Well, Nebraska defensively much maligned coming into this game. But take a look up front. It starts with Valentine, Malik Collins, Mullen. 4th down play, great effort. Getting stop after stop in this first quarter, force a field goal in that possession. They need this defense to rise up tonight because offensively they're just not going to be consistent enough to score 35 points against a team like Michigan State.
Yeah, the Black Shirts have been solid so far in this game tonight. And meanwhile, they put up 10 points on the Spartans defense. Terrell Newby, who's been battling an ankle injury, is in the game at running back. There's a penalty marker down. Movement by Nebraska.
Ball start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
You know, it's amazing how different this offense can be when you can move the quarterback. Grease, you talked on, you get the 4th down, then you move the quarterback and you take a shot. And by moving the quarterback, the much maligned secondary for Michigan State's already been struggling. Now they've got a run-pass threat on the perimeter, and just as we saw, Jordan Westerkamp gets lost.
His 6th receiving touchdown of the year. So it's 1st and 15 after the false start. Here's Cross. And knocked down by Riley Bulla after a gain of a couple. Well, Nebraska comes in 3-6. First time the Huskers have entered November with this many losses. The ones with Brian Griese and Tom Luganville, Dave Pasch in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Cornhuskers lead Michigan State 10-3. Connor Cook threw for 9 first quarter yards, 3 of 9 passing. Meanwhile, Tarmy Armstrong has thrown for 89 yards, and he's back to pass here, going deep on 2nd and long, and a flag is down. Alonzo Moore, the intended receiver. Jermaine Edmondson, the guilty party.
And yet another name in that secondary for Michigan State. We've seen freshmen play there tonight. We've seen Demetrius Cox out there, and now Tyson Smith, Arjun Calhoun, and now Jermaine Edmondson, our 5th corner already early in this game for Mark D'Antonio, and that's an easy call for the official.
Your offsetting fouls. Pass interference on the offense, number 82. Pass interference defense, number 39. Those fouls offset. Replay, 2nd down.
Well, you don't see that very often, where you have both PIs on both guys. Let's take another look. It's Alonzo Moore. Evidently he's back healthy from that shoulder.
That's a bad call.
I don't see that.
either it's a no call or that's on the defense. So they replay 2nd down and 13. I don't understand that one. Mike Riley is in the same boat. Here's pressure up the middle. Armstrong, long throw. Westerkamp again caught it. Boy, he's going to wake up tomorrow. And most of his, that's twice now he's gotten drilled by Darian Harris.
You'll feel that right now. Forget about tomorrow morning. Look at the back of his head. Hopefully the back of his head doesn't hit the ground. Those are the scary ones, you know, where the helmet hits the ground hard. Hopefully he just got the wind knocked out of him.
Westerkamp's about 190 pounds. Darian Harris about 225, and he got driven to the turf that time by Harris. It's amazing. That's twice now the Westerkamp has hung on to it despite taking that kind of lick.
And that's, Dave, that's a misread by the quarterback there. You know, that ball's thrown late in the flat and put your receiver at risk.
Back in a moment. 3rd and 8 for Nebraska coming up. Was shaken up on a big hit by Darian Harris. Hit the turf hard. And they'll look at him. 3rd down and 8 for Nebraska. Alonzo Moore has returned to the game. He was called for a pass interference a few plays ago. He had to leave earlier. And again, Pearson L., who we showed you in the first quarter, he's out with a leg injury. Who's going to catch the ball on 3rd down and 8? Armstrong to the sideline, and it's nearly intercepted. Arjun Colhoun broke on the ball. It was intended for Stanley Morgan. 4th down.
Yeah, this is the patented Michigan State defense. Calhoun on the outside playing that press quarters look, and they don't have to be going down the field. They haven't been threatened down the field, especially by Stanley Morgan. And without Alonzo Moore healthy and DeMornay Pearson-L, they're going to sit on some routes. And if Nebraska's going to convert, they're going to have to take these shots down the field.
Sam Foltz has 15 punts of 50 yards or more, including one already in this game. And he almost got that one blocked. Off the side of his foot. I wonder if he saw Edward Barksdale coming, and that forced the bad kick as a side judge stops at the 43-yard line. That's a punt of about 20 yards. Now Nebraska almost blocked a Michigan State punt in the first quarter. Spartans got close there. Tommy Armstrong has played well at quarterback for Nebraska, which has not beaten a top 10 team when it was unranked since 1977 when they took care of Alabama. Off play action, Connor Cook, who has struggled here tonight, but that one was on target. It was just dropped by Shelton at the 42-yard line. Had a handful of overthrows in this ball game, but that one was on the money.
Yeah, that passing game is just out of sync, whether it's Connor Cook a little bit off this time, R.J. Shelton. That's the second drop of the game too, Dave. Now, one drop quarterback can excuse. The second drop, now you got in the back of my mind, am I going to throw the ball your way again? When I got guys like Burbridge and Josiah Price who have been real reliable, so R.J. Shelton's got to shake that off.
Got 9 passing yards coming off 3 straight 300-yard games. He set the single-game Spartan record for total offense in their win 2 weeks ago against Indiana. They're going to run it here to Scott, and he's tripped up after a gain of 2. Nate Gary, the safety, flying in there. So a third down and long coming up for Michigan State. The Spartans were 0 for 4 in the first quarter on third down.
Yeah, the problem is, Dave Warner, if you're the offensive coordinator for Michigan State, you call a first down rollout. It's a great design and it's a good play. It should have been a first down. It's an incompletion. You come back with second down, only get 2 yards, and you're in third and long right off the bat. Where's Burbridge? Down at the bottom of your screen right here. Been their most consistent player offensively all year.
But Jonathan Rose has been pretty good on him tonight. They rush 4. Cook. Another high pass, but it's caught by Burbridge for a first down. It was deflected by Kings, who appeared to be the intended receiver.
Well, you're going to get the ball to the playmakers, The quarterback, he's trying to get it to Burbridge. It's very clear this ball's going to Burbridge, Dave.
Stop. That's what you said. How many times when you were at Michigan?
Rather be lucky than good sometimes.
Well, maybe that'll get Cook going. That's their longest pass play of the game. Burbridge has been dynamite. Leads the Big Ten in catches and receiving yards. Cook to the air. Got single coverage. Trying to get a rhythm going with Burbridge. As Gary and Kalu had coverage. It's a gain of about 4 yards on first down.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that you have some adversity. And this team has faced some adversity this year. They didn't beat Purdue by a whole lot. Beat them by 3 points. They've had to come back in games. Obviously the Michigan game. So when you have some adversity early in the game, Mark D'Antonio pretty clear with his quarterback. You're going to find your most consistent players, and Aaron Burbridge certainly has been that.
Air Force came back on them. We mentioned Purdue, but 2 wins by a field goal, and then the crazy finish against Michigan. Nebraska blitzing on second down and 6, and Holmes dragged down by Michael Rose-Ivy after a gain of a couple.
For a defense that's been so maligned, particularly in the defensive secondary, Coach Banker, the defensive coordinator, he talked about how difficult the transition has been and getting guys to maybe buck some old habits, get away from what they've done before. This team right now, it looks like an entirely different unit than what we've seen in the past several weeks on defense.
What's interesting, Tom, is they've actually been pretty good against the run this season, but they've given up big run plays tonight. It's the pass defense that's been poor, but they've done a good job in that area tonight against Cook. An underneath pass to Kings, and he gets the first down and more. Kings inside the 15, heading for the end zone. It's a Michigan State touchdown.
What a great athletic play from McGarrett Kings. Actually, the coverage was there. It's just the athletic ability of McGarrett Kings. They're trying to beat him to a spot on just a shallow cross. It's going to come underneath Jonathan Rose and Gary right there, and it's just the athletic ability. And that's the value of having a wide receiver that has punt return skills. When you get the ball in his hands, especially in man-to-man situations, he makes one guy miss and he's to the house.
Well, that tipped pass that was caught wasn't the most fortunate play that Michigan State has had this season. There's a penalty marker down on the extra point. Connor Cook with his 18th touchdown pass. It was set up with that deflection that was caught for a first down to keep the drive going.
Important, especially this week with Veterans Day coming up.
Now Michigan State trailed 10-0, but the Spartans have tied it early in the second quarter. Cronin kicking it off. And here is Stanley Morgan, a true freshman. And Morgan finds a crease. He's past the 30-yard line on a nice return. A penalty marker down as well. Jermaine Edmondson on the tackle. Let's see what the flag is about.
Personal foul. Face mask. Kicking team number 22. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
So that'll put the ball near midfield, Adnan. I think, and people, Clemson silencing the doubters. There's still plenty of them. That was a big win for Dabo Swinney and company, as Nebraska will start at its 48-yard line after the penalty. And the handoff to the fullback, Janovich. Janovich looking for contact as he gets 12 yards on the play.
Folks, just an update on Jordan Westerkamp. He is in the locker room with the training staff going through the normal concussion protocol. They want to check, make sure that is something that they can either rule out or certainly confirm. Puts a lot of pressure on an already thin receiving unit. As we know, Alonzo Moore is dinged up. Expect Stanley Morgan, number 8, the true freshman, to get more turns.
Well, that was big there for Nebraska, Tom, running the ball with success on 1st and 10. Now they hand it off to Moore on the sweep, and he cuts it back for a first down. He gets to the 27, 13 yards for Moore. That's his 12th rush of the season.
And really good signs. You know, a quick hitter inside that takes this Michigan State defense by surprise. You come back with another wrinkle, getting more on the perimeter. Some creativity from Danny Langsdorff, their offensive coordinator, which, you know, this offense, as well as their defense, has been maligned, but they're starting to find a little bit of a rhythm in this game, and getting Tommy Armstrong back was a big piece of that.
Well, you got the feeling they had to respond after Michigan State scored. Now they're down here where they can get at least 3. Armstrong in trouble. And there's a flag. Armstrong throws back across his body, and it's a touchdown. But will it stand? No, incomplete. They're ruling it incomplete. I don't think it's going to stand anyway based on where the flag was thrown in the area of holding. And so it'll come back. Shalik Calhoun, one of the leading pass rushers in all of college football with 8 sacks, was held.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
This coaching staff knew that this was a weakness up front with Dylan Utter, the left guard, especially in pass protection. You're just not going to be able to drop back 7 steps. You're going to see the matchup right here and throw the ball from the pocket. When you're going against guys like Joel Heath, who've really come on for Michigan State, that's a clear call. And unfortunate, you're going to have to move the pocket if you're going to throw the football with Tommy Armstrong.
Came with Mike Riley. To Lincoln. Here's a run play. Newby trying to get some of it back. 1st and 20, and he got maybe 3 yards. I mentioned it was so important for Nebraska to respond. Every bounce has gone against them this year. 4 losses on the final play. Michigan State's 3rd down. Connor Cook throws a high pass. It's tipped, but it's caught by Burbridge, and then they end up getting a touchdown to tie the game.
You just got to keep working. You got to believe that the ball is going to start bouncing your way, and the tide's going to turn for you. But, you know, go a long way here just to get in position to attempt a field goal. That's in the back of your mind as a quarterback, what you need to be thinking right now in this situation.
Armstrong to the air. Calhoun. Armstrong gets away from him. Armstrong makes one defender miss and then throws it at the feet of the receiver. Tariq Allen incomplete, so it's 3rd down and 18.
The good news is that Tommy Armstrong and his toes seem to be healthy. The bad news is he's going to need to use all that athletic ability because they just can't block this defensive line up front for any extended period of time.
Well, Calhoun, a 5th-year senior, a 2-time captain. He is tied with Joey Bosa for the most sacks among active players in college football, 23.5 over his outstanding career. 2-time second-team All-America and will be a high draft pick in the summer. 3rd down and 18. The Spartans bring pressure. Armstrong backing up, lobs it up, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Demetrius Cox. And Cox brings it back to about the 29-yard line.
That's a bad mistake there. A bad mistake there. You knew it was a pressure defense, and you knew you're going to have to get rid of the football. You just don't throw it up for grabs. That's 3 points.
And Drew Brown, their kicker, has made a 50-yarder this year, but he didn't get a chance because of the turnover by Armstrong. State plus 11 in the turnover game. They've outscored their opponents 54-0 in points off turnovers. Connor Cook normally makes teams pay for turning it over. And Nebraska would have been a long field goal, but they're at least in field goal range. And the Spartans are going to run it on 1st and 10. Gerald Holmes, averaging close to 20 yards a rush, gets about 6 there.
Let's go back and take a look. You know, this situation, a quarterback, you see 5 guys up, you know it's a pressure situation. If you don't have a hot route, call a timeout. You have 3 of them. And oh, by the way, it's not just him. The guys, the coaches over here can call a timeout too. That's a missed opportunity for 3 points. You don't have a good route on against pressure, but if you see pressure, get out of it.
That's how you get to 3 and 6, those kind of mistakes. In their wins, they're plus 4 in the turnover margin, minus 12 in their 6 losses. 2nd down and 4. It'll be Holmes again, and this time he's stacked up. Penalty flag is down. Kevin Maurice and Marcus Newby on the hit.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense number 55. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
So instead of a 3rd down and a 4 or 5, Kevin Maurice, who made the tackle, got Holmes up high, twisted the mask, and it'll put the ball in midfield for Michigan State. Well, Nebraska does not have a takeaway in 4 of its last 5 games. The one game where they did turn the opponent over was Minnesota. They had 3 takeaways in that game, and they won that game handily. But Connor Cook's only thrown 2 picks. Michigan State has only turned it over 4 times as an offense. Holmes nowhere to go, brought down in the backfield. Maurice made another play. Dedrick Young, true freshman, was in the backfield as well.
Kevin Maurice is a heck of a football player. Not a lot of people know about him, but everybody talks about Valentine and Collins, but Kevin Maurice at 280 pounds, 6'3", and he's a junior. He's making tons of plays in the last 2 or 3 games for Nebraska.
They're good up front. We talked about Collins and Valentine. Kevin Williams is back from injury. Their best defensive lineman might be Freedom Akinmoladun, who leads the team in sacks. 2nd and 12. Cook with time, and the pass is intercepted. We talked about he's only thrown 2 interceptions, and as we say that, he fires it right to Jonathan Rose.
I'm not sure that Connor Cook wasn't trying to throw this ball to Josiah Price. Take a look. You're going to see Price come down here. I think that's where he's trying to get the football to. And Jonathan Rose is on the outside, gets turned in, and I'm not sure. You get 2 receivers in the same part of the field. You can see from here.
So that looks like a receiver mistake, right, Brian? A receiver error there?
Very difficult to tell. When you have two receivers in the same area, it could have been anything. But if you see that as a quarterback, that means check the ball down. Somebody's clearly run the wrong route.
That seems to not be in Cook's nature. He'd rather take the shot down the field. Here's Cross off the right edge. And at 230 pounds, he moves the pile out to the 44-yard line. So a 5-yard run on 1st down. Just the 3rd interception for Connor Cook this season.
He looks out of rhythm, Dave. He looks out of rhythm. He's been so good, in the last 3 games, kind of holding this team together when they weren't able to run the football. Any kind of consistency. The Indiana game, he talked about being in the zone, and he's not in that zone right now. And the mark of a good quarterback is how do you manage that when you're not feeling it? And right now, he's not managing it.
That went through the hands of the wide receiver, Alonzo Moore, incomplete. He had a blocker out there and everything, but he dropped the ball. It's 3rd and 5. We had Lane Hubby out there who had locked up a defensive back, and that might have been a 1st down had Moore caught that. Now it's 3rd and 5. Tommy Armstrong threw an interception on the last possession. That was on 3rd down. Of course, it was 3rd down and long. This is 3rd and manageable. 5 to go. Spartans showing like they're coming. They rush 4, and it's a run play. Armstrong taking off into Spartan territory. All the way to the 39. 1st down, Nebraska.
This needs to be an element of Nebraska's offense. We were talking with Mike Riley last night. He said, I never run these quarterback design runs at any point in his career because he never had a player like Tommy Armstrong. He said he got to spring ball, and he said, we ran that zone read. I was like, wow, that's a pretty good design. You got to have that element when you don't have the talent offensively that you can just line up and throw the ball down the field.
That's why they needed Armstrong back tonight. Riker Fife started last game. Here is Riley on the jet sweep inside the 25 and knocked out a play near the 20 by Grayson Miller. A gain of 18.
Whether it's Alonzo Moore or whether it's Riley, this speed sweep is another thing that this offense and Danny Langsdorff have not done before. And they were telling us last night, some of these things they took from Oregon, some they took from Chip Kelly, and they've started to integrate these things into their offense. I don't know if it's who they want to be going long term, but certainly in the short term in this season, they think it's useful.
Armstrong slings it out, and another big hit by Darian Harris, taking down Tariq Allen. A loss of 3, Tom.
Yeah, not good job up in the wide receiving core at the point of attack there on the wide receiver quick screen. But to Brian's point on some of these perimeter runs, I think they knew coming into this matchup it's going to be very difficult for the interior of Nebraska's offensive line to block the likes of a Malik McDowell. We've already seen Utter, number 66, have a hard time with that. So these perimeter runs and quarterback runs take a little bit of the pressure off that interior front.
And a negative play, though, on first down, so they're at 2nd and 13. They got to come up with points down here again. Here's a little option, and Armstrong hit hard. Another loss on the play. That was John Reschke and Riley Bulla, the two inside backers, with the hit. Now you're at 3rd down and 14.
Well, there's been questions about Michigan State's defense, but it hasn't been about their front 7, that's for sure. Because their front 4 are as good as anybody. And these linebackers, there was questions when Ed Davis went out early in the year as a great player and a leader on this defense. How would these linebackers respond? And Darian Harris, Reschke, Riley Bulla, they've been outstanding.
I think if you're Nebraska here, you just run the ball, make sure you get points. 3rd and 14 after the Armstrong pick. He's going to throw it. Pressure coming, and the pass is incomplete. Almost intercepted again. Allen, the intended receiver. So it's 4th down. And here comes the field goal team. They brought Kari Willis, a safety, on a blitz. So Drew Brown, who made a 44-yarder earlier. Brother Chris was a longtime NFL kicker. He'll try a 42-yarder to give the Huskers the lead back. Officially a 43-yard attempt based on where they're going to hold it. And this one is good. Would have been good from another 10 or 15 yards. He hammered that one.
Well, Nebraska goes up 3, and now how will Connor Cook respond? It hasn't been pretty so far in this game. Some missed throws down the field. One to Monty Medeiros. And then the interception, which don't know where that ball was going, but there's going to be ups and downs in a season for a quarterback, and there's going to be ups and downs for a team, and certainly Michigan State has already experienced those. And now you're on the road, and nobody cares in the state of Nebraska that they're 3-6. They care about what happens tonight, and this is going to be a dogfight. And how does Connor Cook respond? And I don't know, Lugs, you're down there. What have you seen from Connor Cook and his mannerisms and leadership on the sideline?
He's kind of kept to himself a little bit, guys, and not necessarily been overly emotional or a rah-rah guy on the sidelines. I think he's really concerned with their rhythm. He's gotten on the headset. He's been on the phones. They are just out of sync. And as we've talked about Connor Cook, when he has been a bit erratic or he has been streaky and he misses high.
Be a touchback that'll come out to the 25 for Michigan State. Here's Adnan. right, Adnan, we'll see if Michigan State can respond after Nebraska took the lead back, 13-10 Cornhuskers. And with all the pressure on Mike Riley, the athletic director Sean Eichhorst coming out and giving a vote of confidence, the Chancellor Harvey Perlman doing the same. And the Husker players responding for their coach. And on defense, Holmes dragged down by Marcus Newby, a gain of a couple. And look, I think the bottom line is to think about, as successful as Mike Riley was at a tough place to win Oregon State, to even think about letting go of Mike Riley after 1 year is ridiculous. Now, you could make the case that maybe he wasn't the right fit to begin with. He's personality-wise, Brian, the opposite of Bo Pelini. That's one of the reasons why they went after him.
Yeah, well, time will tell whether he was the right fit, but the time is not now to make that determination. Damian Terry, a quarterback here.
Now, we saw him in at wide receiver earlier. He's going to sling it on second down, and it is juggled, incomplete, almost intercepted. It stayed on the back of Jamal Lyles, and Nate Gary could not make the play, but it's 3rd down and 8.
Great play by Gary. He's in good position there. If he doesn't come up and make that hit, that's going to be a catch by Lyles.
By Michigan State going to Damian Terry, is this a sign of that they don't think they can move the ball in Nebraska?
No, Damian Terry's been a part, but he has a package in every game for Michigan State. Normally it's run the football out of the Wildcat, but you can see that was a great throw. He can throw the football.
That was his first pass of the season at 19 attempts last year. 3rd down and 8. Connor Cook back in at quarterback. Cook waiting, now throws, and it's caught. 1st down. Josiah Price, a tight end. That's his 12th catch of the season. He moved the sticks.
Great protection. Just take a look at this offensive line. Gives a great pocket. This has been the Achilles heel for Nebraska, not pressuring quarterbacks, and it's hard to cover that long downfield. And if you give Josiah Price enough time to do that, I mean, he's just running a pick route there. That's a rub route, and he was the 3rd or 4th receiver option, and Connor Cook finds him.
Price missed a couple games earlier this season with an ankle injury. Cook going downfield, got a man, but it was underthrown, incomplete, intended for Monty Medeiros. He had the overthrows earlier. That one was undershot. Joshua Kalu was in coverage.
And he's made these, Connor Cook has made these throws consistently. Take a look, just let it run, guys. You can see it's a wide open post, plenty of protection. It doesn't seem like he's stepping into the ball, Dave. It seems like, he's kind of static with his feet in the pocket. As this game goes on, take a look at his feet here. You see how he doesn't step into his right leg, doesn't really come through. You see that?
Yeah.
Not projecting that ball and pushing that ball down the field, and that's all confidence. That's all. It hasn't gone my way this half.
On 2nd and 10, Cook in trouble, flag down. Cook escapes for a moment, but then he's wrapped up for a sack, and it's Kevin Maurice back there again.
They're holding on a screen here with Nate Gary, Dave. Pretty blatant.
Holding. Defense number 25. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
And that's just for a junior who started 25 games, okay, great job. You read the screen. Now, don't tackle the guy.
Right.
I mean, he just
made it an easy call
to
the official. And, there was enough pressure that I don't know that Cook was going to be able to throw that ball anyway.
The way you want to play that is you want to just box up next to him like a basketball player and make the quarterback throw that ball, so maybe you get a tip interception. But you don't tackle it.
1st down at the 47 of Nebraska. 2:47 and counting. Michigan State with all of its timeouts. Play fake, roll off for Cook, and that pass is caught by Burbridge. Pretty good coverage by Chris Jones.
Great throw. Great throw. That's what you needed. One of these, you just need Connor Cook to come out and throw that ball on the outside, and if you have any doubt, throw it to 16, because he's going to come down.
The senior from Farmington Hills, Michigan, leads the Big Ten in catches and receiving yards. He's averaging over 100 receiving yards per game. They lost Keith Mumphrey and Tony Lippett from last year's team, and Burbridge has stepped up as Cook's go-to guy. To the ground game, Holmes hit at the line of scrimmage but fell forward for a yard. Josh Banderas, the middle linebacker, in there first. As we hit the 2-minute mark, second down and 8 for Michigan State. 8-0 on the season. They haven't been 9-0 since 1966. Mark D'Antonio doing such a great job with his team. They've won 12 in a row. 12 in a row on the road in the Big Ten. Think about that for a moment. And with Connor Cook's struggles tonight, I gotta mention the fact this guy, all he's done is won. He's 20-1 against Big Ten teams. Only one loss in his career in conference. That was against Ohio State last year. Cook, and open is the tight end Price for a first down. There's a late flag thrown in the middle of the field. Gary had trouble getting Price down. Eventually he went out of bounds at the 16. A late flag was thrown, and it appears it's on Michigan State. John O'Neill, the referee, trying to sort it out.
Pass interference. Offense number 82. 15 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
They end up getting Josiah Price, who ended up catching that football. There he is here. Take a look, see if he pushes off. Oh, he's going out there for a little rub route. This is the pass he caught earlier. They come back to it. And you can't just go and initiate that contact in a pass.
So that'll put it back at the 48-yard line. It'll be second down and 23. Michael Geiger made a 46-yarder earlier in the half, but he's been up and down. They're nowhere near field goal range yet. Pressure coming off the edge. Cook steps up and wide open. Burbridge, first down to the 20-yard line.
And Nebraska knows that they've had trouble getting to Connor Cook, so they try to bring some pressure, but that's the catch-22 for Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator. You bring pressure, you play man behind it. Who's going to guard Aaron Burbridge? You don't have a guy on the team that can play him in man-to-man.
He's got 67 receiving yards now on the day. Here's Gerald Holmes. Waited for his center, Jack Allen, to get out of the way, and he got a yard on the play. Banderas on the tackle. The Spartans will call a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Michigan State in field goal range, down 3. Time now for Mississippi State was number 1 there, just to end that suspense. Dak Prescott and company. By the way, how about the job that Dan Mullen has done with that team this year?
Wow. And how about Dak Prescott? Wow.
They're 7-2, and we had the LSU game where they lost on a field goal. The Tigers are unbeaten coming into their big showdown with Alabama tonight. Michigan State, meanwhile, down 3, a second and 9 here for Connor Cook and company. Holmes has been the workhorse tonight for Michigan State, and he cuts it back and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Banderas on the stop again, brings up 3rd and long. See if Mark D'Antonio calls a timeout here or not.
I don't think he will on 3rd down. He wants to burn this clock, but this Nebraska defense is swarming to the football. I mean, you see that's the difference between good defenses and defenses that give up a ton of yards, and this defense has in games this year, but they are running to the football for Mark Banker.
Now a timeout called by Nebraska. 23 seconds on the clock. All right, let's answer the Affleck trivia question. Affleck. So we mentioned Mississippi State was number 1. Florida State was number 2. Remember, they had won the title the previous year. Auburn was 3. Ole Miss was 4. They played each other that week.
Right.
And Auburn beat Ole Miss. Oregon was 5th. Alabama was, I think, around 9 at first.
I think
first
the biggest difference, guys, this year is Mississippi State obviously had a tough road after that initial ranking. The biggest difference is now that Clemson beat Florida State today, they don't have a very difficult road. So I think they're going to be there at the end.
No, you consider what it takes to actually get to the finish line. And it has so much to do with being healthy and peaking at the right time. One of the things Mississippi State struggled with last year, we'll see if Clemson can overcome it this year.
Can Michigan State overcome adversity tonight, trailing late first half and a 3rd down and 9? Well, they'll play conservatively here and run the ball with Holmes. Oh, Cook to throw on 3rd down to the end zone. It's caught. It's a touchdown, McGarrett Kings. Both touchdown passes by Connor Cook have come on 3rd down, and Michigan State has the lead.
That's a statement there from Connor Cook and from his coaching staff, having the confidence to call that play and take that aggressive shot right before halftime, and he throws a bullet to Kings.
So Kings, who had 2 touchdown catches all season, has 2 here in the first half tonight, capping a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Geiger puts it through, and it's 17-13. Spartans. DirecTV takes you inside the drive as we take a look at that last touchdown.
Well, and anytime you get a wide receiver matched up on a safety, it's going to be an advantage for the offense. Here's Byerson Cockrell, and you're going to see Kings just going to come down and run the post, and you get good protection for Connor Cook, and he can throw a bullet, and he sees Reed's 2 deep defense and the body position of McGarrett Kings, and Cockrell can't be right. That's just it's too good from the quarterback and the receiver, and a great call from Dave Warner.
You talked about the confidence this coaching staff has in Connor Cook, who now ties Kirk Cousins for the Michigan State record for career touchdown passes. That's number 66 for Cook, so he'll obviously break that. He's already the all-time winningest quarterback in Michigan State history. Everybody makes so much about the fact that he's not a captain, and I get that. And there are definitely some concerns with that being a senior quarterback, but the guy's 31-3 as a starter, and he's brought this Michigan State team back from a 10-0 deficit, and they have the lead. Loose ball, and it's fielded by the tight end Trey Foster. Nebraska will have it with 14 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I think everybody expects the quarterback, especially a senior, to be a captain, and but there's a lot of leadership in a lot of different ways. And like I said, I really believe the last 2 games without Jack Allen, who is their captain, it was an opportunity for Connor Cook to step up and to assume some of that leadership. And in the game against Michigan, obviously it wasn't pretty, but he made plays with Burbridge. In the game against Indiana, they needed to make plays in the 4th quarter, and I think he kind of turned the page. This first half was an opportunity for him to show leadership, and that touchdown pass was big for him.
Nebraska will get the ball to start the second half. They trail 17-13. Stick around at halftime for Tom Luganbill's interview with Mark D'Antonio. Spartans undefeated, ranked 7th in the country. They have the lead. Time now for the Buick halftime report. Adnan Burke.
Coach, a tremendous drive there to take it into the half, get the touchdown, but a little bit out of sorts on offense. What's creating some of those issues for you in the first half?
Well, Nebraska bringing pressure. They're playing well on their side of the ball. We got to make those plays. I thought, McGarrett King's 2 big clutch plays.
Defensively, you guys have decided to bring some pressure a little bit against Nebraska. Tommy Armstrong's throwing the ball up for grabs. Will you continue to do that here in the second half?
Loose plays. Got to not allow him to create loose plays. Throw the ball down the field. You got to contain him. He's a good football player, and they got good guys.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Led 10-0 in the first quarter.
All right, let's go.
Mike Riley's team 3-6 on the year, off to its worst start since 1960. And as we mentioned, Michigan State 8-0, trying to go to 5-0 in conference play. They got Maryland and East Lansing next week. 2 weeks from now, they're in Columbus to face the Buckeyes. Cronin going for the pooch kick again, and it's fielded at the 20-yard line by Nelson. And he's brought down just past the 30. Let's check in with Tom Luganbill down on the field.
Guys, one of the things that this offense has to do and Tommy Armstrong has to do is make the routine throws, particularly on early downs, so you stay out of those pressure downs where Michigan State wants to come after you. So for Tommy Armstrong, he doesn't set his feet. He throws the ball behind. He throws the ball up off of his back foot. So what he's got to do is take those routine early throws if they're struggling to run the football so they avoid some of those pressure downs where Michigan State can't pin their ears and come after him.
That's a great point, Tommy. You know, he's a 50% passer. He needs to be 70% in the second half to get back in this game.
Missed last week's game due to injury. Here's Amani Cross straight ahead, and he bowls to the 38-yard line. A 7-yard pickup.
No, it's that type of play right there. Just talking to Mike Riley that he wants to give his quarterback a better chance as we've got an injured defender down here for Michigan State. But you get it now, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. You feel a lot better about your situational play calling here. And offensively, if Tommy Armstrong, as you mentioned, Brian, can just stay in rhythm, make those routine throws, then they're going to have a chance to continue drives and keep Michigan State and Connor Cook off the field.
Joel Heath, the injured Michigan State D lineman, and he's coming off his best game, according to the coaches, against Indiana. He's a 2-year starter, very important player for them up front. But as Tom mentioned, a good start for Nebraska between the tackles, getting that 230-pound running back a touch.
Here he is right here. I think he just got rolled up on.
Well, he got hit initially by Shalik Calhoun, and
Right
then,
there,
ooh.
yeah.
And that was well after the play was over, too.
Yeah.
There's no flag. The officials missed that. Jordan Westerkamp back in the game. He was injured in the first half. 2nd down and 3. They'll run it, and it's a first down. Newby. It's hog-tied at the 44-yard line. Darian Harris with a big tackle, because if Newby breaks that one, he's got the speed to take it to the house. And there was a good play by Harris.
In between the tackles, that's where it's been a struggle running the football for Nebraska. With Heath on the sideline, I wouldn't be surprised if they start to try to attack on the inside. They're getting a little bit more push on Malik McDowell, and now Craig Evans is going to be relied upon with Heath on the sideline.
Armstrong out in the flat. Great play in the open field again by Darian Harris. He takes down Stanley Morgan. Lost a yard on the play. Boy, Harris has been all over the field. He's got 10 tackles for Michigan State.
He certainly has, and he needed to make this tackle because they gambled and brought pressure up the middle. That's Harris's play to make. And when you have a wide receiver, I know Morgan is a true freshman, but he's one of their more explosive players, and a linebacker makes that play, you know that's a good play.
They bring in the fullback, Janovich, on 2nd and 10. Spartans going to bring pressure again, and here's Cross. He's got a gap. Got the first down. Boy, the Spartans bringing a lot of pressure and running the ball. Nebraska having tremendous success here early 3rd quarter.
Great block by the fullback, Andy Janovich. Take a look. Number 35 on the edge. Going to come out. Physical. That's why he's a crowd favorite.
Now, because Michigan State is giving up chunk plays on the ground, they got to stop blitzing. See what they do here on 1st and 10. Armstrong off play action, looking deep, got a man. It's caught. And he's down inside the 1. Alonzo Moore got away from the defender.
This style of defense puts so much pressure on the corners. Looks like he's going to be just short. It's a good call by the official down on the 1-inch line, but a lot of pressure on these corners, and that was true freshman Tyson Smith at corner who was beat.
Cross behind Janovich. 1st and goal for Nebraska. A pitch to Cross. He's in. Touchdown. Flag is thrown on the near side, but it's offside on Michigan State, and the Huskers have the lead.
Offside, defense number 89. The penalties decline. Result of the play is a touchdown.
And Malik McDowell injured for Michigan State. He just tried to walk off the field and took a seat at the 3-yard line. Remember, they lost Joel Heath earlier on this drive. That's their 2 starting defensive tackles injured on this possession.
Boy. And Heath looks like he's getting a new tape job, may be able to return in this game. McDowell, he didn't look good. Hopefully that's just a cramp. Couldn't have been a better start for Nebraska in the second half. See if we can take a look. He's right in the middle.
That left leg you can see swinging his, I think it was a teammate there, it looked like. A teammate, Lawrence Thomas, either stepped on him or fell on that left leg.
Normally you come off with your leg like that, locked out, it's a cramp, but hopefully that's all it is for Malik. What a start for the second half.
Huge.
Nebraska.
Considering the way they ended the first half. Giving up a touchdown with 17 seconds left when they had the lead the entire half. Drew Brown puts it through, and Nebraska regains the lead. 20-17, trying to knock off the 7th-ranked team in the country. Haven't had a lot to cheer about in Lincoln this year. They have not lost 3 straight home games since 1968. They're trying to avoid a defeat here in front of a sold-out crowd for the 346th consecutive game, an NCAA record. They had the lead early in the third after an impressive drive to start the half. Here's Shelton, and he's had a couple drops. He muffs the kickoff, and he won't even get to the 20. Dropped at the 16-yard line by Simpson.
Go back and take a look at that long play. This is Grayson Miller here. He's a true freshman. They're going to get Alonzo Moore out here one-on-one. This is not the responsibility of the safety. This is all man-to-man coverage. Grayson Miller's doing what he's been taught to do. And the corner is also a true freshman. Tyson Smith just doesn't have the speed to stay with Alonzo Moore. This is the way that this defense for Michigan State has always been run. Since Pat Narduzzi, D'Antonio were at Ohio State. And this is, they live with it and they die by it. The difference is they don't have Trey Waynes. They don't have Darquez Denard. They got the true freshmen out there playing.
Yeah, 3 of them in the secondary. Here's Holmes trying to find a hole. And he's across the 20-yard line. Pick up a 5 or 6.
And you know, Grease, you become so reliant upon a good pass rush, 2 deep along the front. Shalik Calhoun has a monster first half, and you've got Malik McDowell. You have an injury there in the defensive tackle spot, but when you become that reliant that you're going to get pass rush, you feel like it's going to take some pressure off, but off of the play action, no pass rusher, guys are left on an island.
Bottom line is both these quarterbacks, if you give them time, they're going to make throws down the field.
Yeah, both offensive lines have done a pretty good job protecting the quarterbacks in this game. Haven't seen a lot of pressure on either quarterback. This time Cook is in trouble, and he has a completion to Pendleton as fullback. Nice tackle to keep him from getting the first down. Josh Kalu made the stop. It'll be 3rd down and a yard. They brought a blitz that time. Marcus Newby was in the backfield, but Cook wisely got out of there and dumped it off to Pendleton.
You know, one of the biggest questions in my mind coming in with Michigan State to this game was, with Jack Allen back at center, would they be able to run the ball more consistently between the tackles in short yardage situations? And here's another opportunity.
It's Burbridge on the end around. He's got the corner in the first down, and he's dragged out at the 36 by Gary. 11 yards for Burbridge on the run.
Boy, and that's telling to me. Dave Warner, Jim Bowman, their co-offensive coordinators, that's how much respect they have for Malik Collins and Valentine and Maurice on the inside, that in 3rd and 1, because that's a dangerous play in short yardage situations. Any kind of penetration will knock Burbridge off. Still not settled on that ability to just line up, turn around, hand it, and power people off the ball.
Well, the guy that's leading them in rushing, L.J. Scott, only has 3 carries. Gerald Holmes with 12 rushes, 86 yards. Madre London is available. He has been injured the last 2 games with a bad ankle. Cook throwing deep, and he's got Kings, a diving catch inside the 40-yard line.
We thought this might be a pass-happy game. Believe it or not, yes, Nebraska and Michigan State in a pass-happy game, and we're starting to see it here in the second half. What a game Kings is having. I mean, that's unbelievable, some of the catches that he has made, and he's starting to be that number 2 wide receiver opposite Aaron Burbridge. And if you have that kind of balance, that's really nice as a quarterback.
It's his third catch. The other two went for touchdowns. That one went for almost 30 yards. And a first down in Nebraska territory. It's Gerald Holmes straight ahead. And Holmes keeping the feet moving. Stacked up at the 34. Got a couple. And Darris in there leading the charge defensively for Nebraska. Now, Michigan State has won close games this year. Nebraska has lost all of the close games that they've been in. Who will prevail in this one? Michigan State has won 12 in a row on the road in the Big Ten. They've lost only one November road game under Mark D'Antonio. That was in 2008 at Penn State. They're down here, but they've got a second down and 8 inside the 35. Cook going to work. Burbridge in the middle of the field. Burbridge is gone. Touchdown, Michigan State.
Time in the pocket. You give Connor Cook time in the pocket and the ability to wait, not in the first window where Burbridge was covered, but in a zone to get to that second window. That second window is dangerous for defenses. That's where Jerry Rice made so many of his plays, because you had time for Montana in the pocket to wait for the second window on the slant, and that's exactly what Connor Cook did for Burbridge, and then he had the speed to finish.
And Connor Cook all alone atop the Michigan State record books in career touchdown passes, with 67 now on the year as he finds Aaron Burbridge, his go-to guy. Director going back to Eichhorst days at South Carolina when, of course, Spurrier was the head coach.
I know who came in second when Spurrier won the Heisman.
So do I.
Your former partner.
Your dad. 1966, right?
Yeah. Pretty good Michigan State team that year, too. Bubba Smith.
Yeah. That's the last time they were 9-0, and they're trying to get there here tonight. Here's Morgan. And he is in trouble, but Morgan somehow broke free. A flag comes down as Morgan is stopped at the 27-yard line. There was Eric Crouch, the 2001 Heisman Trophy winner you saw with Neil Everett there in the Heisman house here in Lincoln.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Kicking team number 5. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
It's twice by Michigan State on kickoffs that they made that mistake.
Let's give the big guys up front some credit on this touchdown to Burbridge. Take a look at the protection. Freeze it right there, guys. Look at this. Plenty of time, which allows Connor Cook to identify and then find the second window. This is when you give a senior quarterback that amount of time, he's going to carve you up. And then you see the speed from Burbridge to get to the end zone.
Cook was 4 of 4 that drive, passing for 75 yards. But Nebraska takes over after the penalty on its 41-yard line. Here's Amani Cross. And Cross across the 45. Gain of 7. Here's Adnan in the studio. Battle of top 5 teams, so obviously the loser of that game will be movement in the college football playoff rankings. Michigan State number 7 trying to move up. A 4-point lead, but the Huskers have a 2nd and 3. And Armstrong throwing it deep, and it's incomplete, but interference. Brandon Riley, the intended receiver, and they keep picking on Jermaine Edmondson.
They're picking on everybody.
That's true.
Hey, just throw the ball up. Why doesn't Nebraska continue to just throw the ball up on the outside?
Pass interference. Defense number 39. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And I mean, we've talked about this, that this is their style of play. This is how they want to play defense with the corners. They just don't have the corners they used to have, and so they're going to have to figure this out, Dave.
I wonder, does Armstrong want that one back? Because Riley had a step. That's a better throw. It's a touchdown.
Could be, yeah. If you're going to err, though, in a game like this, if you're going to err, don't overthrow him, because there's no chance of a penalty if you overthrow him.
Here's Cross, leveled in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. Malik McDowell back on the field. He was in there along with Darian Harris. 11 tackles now for Harris.
And if I'm Danny Langsdorf, I know that Nebraska's about to run the football, but this front seven is too stout to run the ball against consistently. Don't listen to the outside pressure. You got to do what you need to do to win the game. And if you got to throw the ball on the outside on first and second down until they go to a two-deep defense and force you not to do that, that's what you got to do.
2-yard setback, 2nd and 12. Multiple tight ends in here. Play action for Armstrong. And he's going to go deep to the other side of the field. This one is caught. My goodness, what a grab. Riley took it away from Edmondson, who thought he had a pick.
And Edmondson was looking for a offensive pass interference. Edmondson's in great position. He just doesn't play the football. He's looking back for the ball and allows Riley to go right over top of him to get the football. It's a good no call.
35 yards, and it's 1st and goal. Nebraska again with a great response to a score by Michigan State. Terrell Newby in the backfield with Armstrong. Armstrong going to swing it out to Westerkamp. He going nowhere. Demetrius Cox all over that. And the fans boo as he loses about 4 yards.
Yeah, the fans are booing here. They're not the ones that got to try to run the ball against this front seven, right? It's tough sledding in there, so I don't disagree with throwing the football down here inside the 5-yard line one bit.
Cox, the first-year starter in the secondary, playing with a lot of true freshmen tonight on the back end. Armstrong on 2nd and goal. Throws an interception, threw it right to Riley Bulla. Never saw him. And Bulla takes it back to the 15-yard line. You can't have that happen if you're Tommy Armstrong down there. That's twice when they've been in scoring position. He's thrown an interception.
But if you're going to throw this ball here, you got to put it up near the goalpost. That's where the ball needs to go. And Tommy Armstrong, it just comes out flat on him, right into the hands of Riley Bulla. See, that ball has got to be up by the goalpost. Way too short.
Mark D'Antonio Spartans get another takeaway. Off the right side, it's Gerald Holmes. He gets about 7 or 8 yards on 1st down.
Let's go back and take a look. Here's Riley Bulla right here. And freeze it right when he throws the football, guys. I want you to look at two things. One is I want you to look at Tommy Armstrong's feet. Then I want you to look at the ball needs to be thrown right at the goalpost. It comes out flat. And a lot of it is because of Tommy Armstrong's feet being poor. And when he comes off the field, he's telling you, I got to get it up there. Mechanics let him down there.
That's the 2nd time this season he's thrown multiple interceptions, threw 3 against Miami. Here's Holmes again on 2nd down, and he'll get the 1st down. Brought down by Newby. Let's check him with that now. And next week, Ohio State's at Illinois. Michigan State is home against Maryland. Then the Spartans and Buckeyes meet on the 21st in Columbus. Will both be undefeated when they square off. Michigan State in a tight game. Cook off a play fake. Gonna try to throw underneath and hit Pendleton, but it's incomplete.
No, you talked about the footwork for Tommy Armstrong there on that throw. We saw a lot of that inconsistency from Connor Cook in the first half. We're not seeing that right now. On that play right there, I'll know it was a check down, it was an incompletion, but you look at his pocket posture in his base. He's stepping into throws. He's working through his progression, in command of the offense, and you've seen that consistently throughout the last few drives of this offense, and it's all Connor Cook's confidence and comfort level right now.
He had a handful of overthrows early in the game, but he's definitely settled down. 3 touchdown passes in the game. They hand it off in the sweep. Shelton has Pendleton blocking for him, and Shelton is out of bounds after he picks up the 1st. Steps out at the 41 to pick up 12 yards.
We've talked a lot about Aaron Burbridge catching balls, making touchdowns, but he does the dirty work too. Take a look. Man. We saw that last week with Laquan Treadwell a little bit, and Burbridge is starting to kind of exert himself in the run game, and the If they can get that game going, that perimeter run game with Shelton, that's something that can add a little bit of sting to this Michigan State offense.
As you mentioned, they've had trouble just running it straight ahead consistently against this Nebraska front four. Holmes. And he pinballs forward close to midfield. Kevin Maurice went for about a 3-yard ride. It's interesting, though, that Gerald Holmes has become the back that they're going to. It's not L.J. Scott, their leading rusher. Andre London is available. He was injured the last couple games with an ankle. And they have Delton Williams, a guy that's gotten a lot of carries this year. Holmes had just 39 attempts coming into today, but he's gotten the bulk of the carries in this game.
Well, people forget L.J. Scott is a true freshman. And it wasn't like it was L.J. Scott's show. He was kind of helping out with Madre London. I think it's the right call not to put everything on a true freshman.
Holmes again, and he gets stood up short of the first down. Josh Banderas meets him at the 50. It'll be 3rd and 1.
That being said, Gerald Holmes is a big, explosive, powerful guy who can really take it the distance probably of all the backs on this Michigan State team. He's the one that's got the most explosive capability.
And of the 23 run plays, he has touched it 17 times. We'll see if he gets it here on 3rd down and 1. We've seen Cook throw it on 3rd and short a lot. That's the formation they're in now. Cook rolling right, dumps it off to Pendleton, who has the first down. Tackled by Chris Jones at the 45 of Nebraska.
And it's just creativity here, Dave. You know, Pendleton has been that big play guy that when they do some trickery, they get the football to him. We saw it in the Michigan game. He had a big catch in the 4th quarter that set up a touchdown. And again, we see it's a great play. It's a conversion, but when are you going to need that physical downhill run game in short yardage situations throughout the course of the season? And that's something that Michigan State still needs to find.
May need it this game yet. They have the lead and they're on the move at the 45-yard line. Play fake for Cook. He's going to get hit, and he finds Burbridge, who breaks a tackle at the 35. Tried to stiff arm Banderas, went out at the 16-yard line. Gain of almost 30 yards there.
And we saw Byerson Cockrell get beat by McCarrick Kings for a touchdown. He has a blow-up shot here and just gets caught in the middle. We were talking with Mark Banker. You see Cockrell there. He's got to make that hit. You know, he's got to dislodge the football. Instead, he gets caught in no man's land, and that's what's been driving Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, crazy in this secondary between Gary and Cockrell, making plays, missing plays that are there to be made, and it's only inches, but you see the result.
Yeah, 124 yards after the catch. Couple of fakes for Cook, looking, and now throws it, and it's nearly intercepted. Nate Gary got a hand on it. Would have been an incredible pick. I think Cook was just trying to throw it away there. 2nd down. A dangerous pass by Cook, either trying to throw it away or trying to hit Kings down the sideline. Can Nebraska come up with a stop and force a field goal? 2nd and 10 for Michigan State at the 16-yard line. Cook pulls it back, fires, and it's caught. An easy touchdown. Jamal Lyles, his first touchdown of the year.
That safety play. We're talking about that safety play. This time it's Nate Gary. Just gets lost back there. Number 25, you can see him. Good communication back there. And it's been all year. There he is right here. Against Purdue, they look lost. And I think people underestimate how difficult it is to change from one defensive system to another, and how the most difficult part is in the secondary and reading routes and matching routes. And it's not easy. No excuses, but that's why Nebraska has struggled.
All right, it's an 11-point lead for Michigan State. Let's check in with Adnan in the studio. Here it's 31-20. Connor Cook with 4 touchdown passes, 21 now on the season. And with more on Cook, let's check in with Tom.
No, I think the lost arts of quarterback play in Greece, I know you'll agree here, is ball handling. And when you have such an emphasis on running the football, then what you're going to do, whether it's in your zone read game, your play action game, your quarterback's got to do a great job with how he flashes the ball, how he rides the back at mesh points, and then still being able to have a little bit of a hide and seek with that ball once things have developed. I think Connor Cook is really underrated in this regard, and that's what set up why that play was so wide open in the back end.
Yeah, it's a good point, Tom. It is a lost art, and ball handling, I think, is making a comeback just because of the fact that you've got teams like Baylor and those style of offenses where it is a run until that quarterback pulls it out the last minute and throws it downfield.
Back-to-back 4 touchdown pass games for Connor Cook, as this one didn't go into the end zone, went out of bounds. So Nebraska's going to have good field position again. Kickoffs have been an issue for Michigan State in this game because they've had 2 penalties with their kickoff coverage unit.
Out of bounds by the kicking team. Ball be placed at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
Cronum is just trying to either force Nebraska to go over there and field it or kick it into the end zone, but it went sideways out of bounds. So Nebraska will have it on its 35.
Now the question is for Michigan State, how is their secondary going to play? Are you going to continue to be attacked by Nebraska down the field as we see Monty Medeiros, yet another corner out on the field, number 21, who's a receiver that they moved over to corner.
There's a Monty Cross looking for a cutback lane. He bounces forward to the 40-yard line. That's a gain of 5 on the play. Yeah, Medeiros changing his number, normally wears 88. He practiced for a few weeks at cornerback, but this is his first action on defense this year. Junior from Cincinnati.
Following the footsteps of Tony Lippett last year, the great receiver that they had to move over to corner, and they've had some issues Michigan State has at that position.
Medeiros trying to figure out where to line up there. There was no receiver on the outside. 2nd and 5. It's Janovich, the fullback, and he runs over 2 Spartans and moves the chains, gets to the 47-yard line. Nebraska changing things up. Seen a lot of different looks from them offensively. Now that they got the run game going again, do we see some shots down the field now that they're back towards midfield?
Well, and Mark D'Antonio has made one other defensive adjustment. He has now moved Demetrius Cox back from safety to corner and taken Jermaine Edmondson out of the game. So very clearly they're trying to find the right combination on the outside.
Here comes Alonzo Moore in motion. Armstrong rolling out, being chased by Darian Harris. Armstrong lets it fly for Westerkamp, and he was out of bounds. Demetrius Cox in coverage gave him a little shove at the end to make sure that he was out. Boy, you see the arm strength there, rolling to the left. Armstrong.
Great effort there by both players, Westerkamp and Tommy Armstrong. I can't tell you how difficult of a throw that is. Running full speed with a linebacker on your heels and to flip your hips and throw going against your body 45, 50 yards downfield on a dime.
Well, he's got certainly a strong arm, and he's a very good athlete. Made poor decisions, though, in this game with the 2 interceptions, both inside the 35. 1 on the goal line on that last Nebraska offensive possession. They swing it out to Westerkamp. He gets the first down. Great block by Lane Hovey out there. Grayson Miller, one of those true freshman safeties, made the tackle. Westerkamp shaken up a little bit there as he went to the sideline. Nebraska in Michigan State territory again. Closing stages of the 3rd quarter. The give to Amani Cross off the right side. And Cross able to slip out of a tackle. Banged out a play inside the 20 by Monte Nicholson.
I think this team came to play tonight, Dave. I know it hasn't all been pretty, but Nebraska, they have not quit in this game. They continue to find production offensively, throwing the ball on the last drive. Now it's been mostly on the ground here, and you start to wonder, Joel Heath out of that defensive line for Michigan State. Some of these other guys, McDowell, a little nicked up. How much do they have left in the tank?
But can Nebraska score down here? Janovich gets maybe a yard. Nicholson in there makes the stop. Nebraska has struggled in the red zone through an interception on the last possession. They're down 11 as we go to the fourth, but in consecutive Big Ten road games. They've won 9 straight road games in November under Mark D'Antonio. The last road loss overall was at Michigan. The last one in November was at Penn State back in 2008. Nebraska on the move. In the red zone now, a 2nd down and 9. Flag down. Armstrong going to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Janovich. John Reschke, a linebacker, was in coverage, and Michigan State was offside.
Number 89, 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
That's Shalik Calhoun, who has not been much of a factor in this game. He's got a tendency to disappear in games.
Trying to get a jump on the tight end Carter there. Tendency to disappear. That's not a good analysis of Shalik Calhoun, especially for NFL types.
But you agree with it, don't you? 2nd down and 4. They run Cross off the left side, got the 1st down, and Cross taken down at the 2. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, I don't think that we're going to see Tommy Armstrong throwing again in the red zone, especially inside the 10-yard line. It's going to be the Imani Cross show, and you get a great kick out on Demetrius Cox by Janovich. And you get 1st and goal at the 2.
Cross, a guy who has 26 career rushing touchdowns, might get a chance at number 27. He's got 2 tonight. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. It'll be the big guy. Cross had trouble getting the handle. He won't go down, though. Look at him fight. He'll come up just short of the goal line. He should have lost a couple of yards on the play.
That's a great 1-yard run right there. You know, a lot of times these running backs are judged on yardage and touchdowns and all that, but that should have been 2nd and 5 from the 5. Instead, it's 2nd and 1.
And he had trouble getting that pitch and corralling it. Michigan State getting Lawrence Thomas on late. They have too many guys out there. Here's Cross, and he's tackled at the 2. He lost a yard. There was no flag on the play. Let's see if we can count them up. Michigan State thought that they had 12 guys out there. Let's check in with Tom, who's right there.
They were having some real issues trying to figure out how they wanted to play their personnel. Lawrence Thomas was already on the field, came back on. Malik McDowell, number 4, came on, and they wanted to move who their 1 and their 3 technique was. So you see 72 coming off right now for Michigan State on defense. Craig Evans, now he's going back in. A lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Michigan State needs to settle down here.
It's 3rd down and goal. Armstrong rolling out, and he's going to keep it, and he dives for the goal line. He's in. Touchdown.
Great decision from Tommy Armstrong. Watch him lower his head here and go after Demetrius Cox. You think Tommy Armstrong doesn't want to win this game for Nebraska with the way that this season has gone, and all of the close plays gives a look to Demetrius Cox after he punches it in.
And they're going for 2 to try to make it a 3-point game. And it was hard to tell on that 1st down play how many guys were on the field. And every play is reviewed, so.
Ruling on the field of touchdown is confirmed.
And they looked at it there and told John O'Neill, the referee on the field, that he was in.
You know, I'm not a big fan of chasing points this early in the 4th quarter, especially with the way that they've struggled inside the 10-yard line. I think I'd kick the extra point here.
Cross motions out of the backfield. Armstrong rolling out, and that pass off target. He tried to hit Westerkamp, who was open. So a failed conversion. And it's a 5-point Michigan State lead early in the fourth quarter. The Huskers able to move the ball on the Spartans all night long. And Tommy Armstrong
chasing points this early in the fourth quarter. Still 13 minutes left in the game. You got all 3 timeouts. I would understand if you had a great running game or if you had a great mismatch with a big tight end or something, but Nebraska has neither of them.
Although if that was a better throw, Western can't. They get the 2 points.
It's tough. It's not an easy throw.
Got a touchback. Here's Adnan. All right, Adnan, thank you. Michigan State on top of Nebraska 31-26. Connor Cook has 4 touchdown passes. 3 have come after an interception that he threw in 3 drives. He's hit Kings, Burbridge, and Lyles. He's really spread the ball around tonight, and he is now the all-time leader in touchdown passes at Michigan State, breaking Kirk Cousins' career mark. And Cook will throw on first down, and that pass is almost intercepted, or did he catch it? No, incomplete. They got to look at this one. Chris Jones dove for it.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Second down.
Let's see if he controls it. No.
Great effort, Chris Jones. We talked a lot about Michigan State's secondary struggles, but Nebraska's had their share as well. And Chris Jones, a true sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida, getting his chance, making a play.
And Delton Williams is the running back for Connor Cook here on 2nd down and 10. Cook with time into traffic. Burbridge, a sliding catch right at the first down marker, and he does have it at the 36 with Banderas and Kalu converging.
Boy, and Josh Kalu got hit on his leg, on his knee there. He's a little bit gimpy. You wouldn't be shocked if Dave Warner up in the box sees that, takes a shot.
Damian Terry is in the game at quarterback. They flex Connor Cook out wide to the left of Terry, who threw his first pass of the season in the first half. There's a flag down.
Ball start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's on Jamal Lyles, the tight end. Boy, Connor Cook has got it rolling. Why are you taking it out of his hands and putting it in Damian Terry's hands?
Again, this is part of the package that Dave Warner, the offensive coordinator, likes. It's not taking the ball out of Connor Cook's hands. It's just an extension of their running game. And so Terry adds another element that they like to sprinkle in and force defenses to prepare for it.
It's Dave Warner, co-offensive coordinator with Jim Bowman. 1st and 15. Cook gonna throw again. Comes back to the middle of the field, and it's incomplete. He went for A.J. Troop. So they come out slinging it here on this possession at 2nd down and 15.
Boy, and again, Nate Gary, another opportunity in that secondary. If he's playing that route well, that could have been should have been an interception. He's playing the receiver rather than looking at the quarterback. He's looking at the receiver. When in zone, you should be looking at the quarterback and breaking on the football, not on the receiver.
That's dangerous, right, to go late back over the middle?
Oh, that was super late.
2nd and 15. Nebraska rushes 4. Cook, long throw, and the catch made, but only a few yards for Josiah Price, being covered by Josh Kalu. So it brings up a 3rd down and long. One of the biggest plays of the year for Nebraska.
Can they get some pressure in the pocket? That's been the difference. When they have gotten pressure on Connor Cook, they've affected his accuracy. When they haven't, he's carved them up on the back end.
Took a little long to get the play in. Connor Cook was waiting for it. They break the huddle with 10 on the play clock. Cook has been brilliant on 3rd down. Cook pumps. His pass is caught by Shelton. It's a first down. Shelton has had a number of drops in this game, but with 4 Cornhuskers around him, he hauled that one in to move the sticks.
3 hitches, 2 pats of the ball. Look at it this time in the pocket. 1, 2, 3. He almost pointed to the wide receiver. That's how much time he had. And that, you can't cover. You can't put that on the secondary. You got to get pressure. That's what it all comes down to.
So why not bring a blitz? Why not send more than 4?
Well, we saw what happened when Aaron Burbridge in man-to-man coverage beat him for a touchdown.
And Damian Terry in the game at quarterback again. He's going to run it. And he is grabbed at the ankle by Josh Banderas. He gets lassoed at midfield. A 3-yard pickup for Terry. 10.5 to go in the 4th. The Spartans trying to get to 9-0, 5-0 in the Big Ten. And win their 13th consecutive game. It's their longest winning streak since the mid-50s. And it's the 4th longest win streak in college football. The longest is owned by Ohio State at 21. The Spartans will play the Buckeyes in 2 weeks in Columbus. Cook back in at quarterback on 2nd down. His pass is complete. Shelton lunges to the 45. 3rd down and short coming up here for Michigan State.
It's not too early for Connor Cook to start milking this clock. You're up 4. Be very deliberate in how you operate. Take all the time that you possibly can off the clock. You're under 10 minutes now. Protect your defense. They've been a little bit vulnerable in the back end defensively. So get a 3rd down conversion here. Be smart with the football and then milk that clock.
Delton Williams is the tailback. Pendleton in front of him on 3rd and short. Here's Williams, and he is close. They're going to mark him just short. Josh Kalu made the tackle. Now Michigan State went for it on 4th down and 1 in the 1st quarter and did not get it. And the Spartans are going to go for it here. They're going to bring in an extra offensive lineman for 4th down.
They're bringing in Benny McGowan. And they're taking out Brian Allen. Like he might have got dinged there. You've got a backup coming in. He'll go to left guard. That tells me from Nebraska's standpoint, they're probably going to run the ball to the other side of the field. That's a tendency.
4th down and 1. You mentioned the failed 4th down conversion in the first half. They're 4 of 11 on the year. Cook lines up in the gun, and he's going to keep it, and he's got the 1st down. Big play by Connor Cook to move the chains. Michigan State leading Nebraska 31-26. The Spartans trailed 10-0 in the 1st quarter. With Brian Greasy, Tom Luganbill, Dave Pasch at Memorial Stadium. It's the 346th consecutive sellout, an NCAA record. They haven't had a lot to cheer about here in Lincoln this year. 6 losses. The first time they've entered November with this many losses. But they've been very balanced offensively. However, they have not been able to stop Michigan State on the last 3 drives. And the Spartans are at the Nebraska 41 with a fresh set of downs with 8 minutes to go. Here's Gerald Holmes. He gets grabbed by Jack Anguish at the point of attack. Minimal gain.
Boy, and Jack Allen came out of that pile really ginger, Dave, and that's a guy they cannot afford to lose. He was dealing with an ankle the last 2 games. This was one of their unbalanced lines. So he ends up at right guard. He's not at center, and they're going to run the power behind him. Just comes off and
so you had Benny McGowan snap it. That's the 3rd center we've seen in the game.
Boy, that right ankle still tender.
And again, his brother Brian Allen is still out. McGowan's in at left guard. Damian Terry in at quarterback, and he's going to throw off play action, and his pass is pulled in for a 1st down. Catch made by Burbridge inside the 30.
No, fellas, you see this play clock starting to roll down, and I've watched it for each of the last 5 plays. Michigan State has essentially broke the huddle exactly with 14 seconds left on almost every single play they've run on this drive. And Brian, to your point, with the quarterback being able to run the football, you create a half-a-man advantage when you force the defense to have to account for the quarterback running the ball. That was a great play by Michigan State there.
Both quarterbacks have been sharp on this drive. They're inside the 30. Nebraska brings pressure. Cook takes off. Thrown down to the 24-yard line by Nate Gary. So a run of 3 or 4 yards for the quarterback Cook.
And this is very clearly, this is 4-minute offense here, even though there's 6.5 left in the game. The way that Dave Warner is calling these plays now, it's impressive. This kind of a drive is as important as some of the scoring drives earlier in the game, because you're squeezing the life out of this game right now. And
they've had the ball for half the quarter.
Yeah.
2nd and 7 at the 24. Cook keeping it, and he just slides down. Lost 3 or 4 on the play. Boy, and that would have been a big run for Gerald Holmes if he would have given it to him. Now it's 3rd down and long. And if Nebraska could get a stop and force a field goal, it would stay a 1-score game. But it goes back to your point about the missed 2-point conversion.
Yep.
Nebraska would have to get a touchdown and then convert a 2-point play on the next possession. First things first, got to get a stop on 3rd and 11. Cook has owned the Huskers on 3rd and long in this game. Nebraska bringing pressure late. Cook lobs it up there, and it is caught! R.J. Shelton with a great grab at the 5-yard line.
Nope. Mark Banker went all-out pressure, and he left his corners on an island on the outside. And Kalu, who was a little bit dinged up, he had that knee earlier in this quarter, but in position to make a play. But R.J. Shelton with 2 drops in the first half, bad drops, comes back, doesn't get down, doesn't let his teammates down when they needed it the most, and comes up with a big grab.
Had 2 huge catches on this possession. Cook over 300 yards for the 10th time and for the 4th straight game. Here's Holmes on the run, shakes a tackle, heads for the end zone, and they're going to mark him down at the 1. It'll be 2nd and goal on the 1-yard line. And there's the knee, and it's close. And again, it just has to cross the front.
He went down a little awkward too. Lucky that he didn't get injured.
This clock running, Nebraska has to get a stop. Force a field goal try. 2nd and goal. Holmes again, and he's in for the touchdown.
Boy, that had to be one of the more impressive drives of the season for the Spartans. And throwing the ball, Terry comes out, throws the football. Connor Cook was on point. Shelton made plays, and then the running game and the legs of Connor Cook converting on a 4th down, and then some other plays sprinkled in. That was an impressive drive, executed well by Connor Cook and called well by Dave Warner, the offensive coordinator.
16 plays, 75 yards. It took 8 minutes and 50 seconds off the clock. And now Nebraska has only 4 minutes and 16 seconds left, trailing by 12. On that possession, including that one to set up that last touchdown that extended the lead to 12.
Yeah, I think that's big. That's trusting your players and knowing that, despite the fact that R.J. Shelton started the game a little shaky with some drops, that in crunch time, when you needed to make a play and the quarterback gave you a chance, you made it. And then you can build relationships on those kinds of plays.
And Connor Cook continues his great season, a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate, a Heisman Trophy candidate. 2nd straight 4-touchdown game. Janovich on the return. He's loose and pushed out near midfield by the kicker, Kevin Cronin. Boy, how many times has Nebraska started after a kickoff near midfield?
I've capped off by a great play by R.J. Shelton.
Connor Cook in the 2nd half, only 4 incompletions, 180 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Nebraska still has life. Need to score quickly and get an onside kick. A long throw by Armstrong, but that's on the money to Jordan Westerkamp. My goodness, that was from the far hash. He just trying to duck out of the way, it looked like, when he chucked that thing to Westerkamp at the 30.
He's got a great arm. I mean, there's no question about it. That was a long throw, and we've seen a couple times where he's been running to his left and flips his hips and makes these deep throws.
He'll pass again, got single coverage, and it is is incomplete. That would have been a touchdown if Moore could hang on. He's hurt. He's got a bad shoulder and kept him out of the game against Purdue last week. Argent Colhoun had the coverage.
Boy, that's tough because Alonzo Moore's gutting it out here. He's got a bum right shoulder. He's trying to make one-hand catch, and then it comes down right on top of that shoulder, and that's painful. I mean, he's in a lot of pain in that end zone, but should have been a penalty.
Yes.
Because Calhoun's got his arm hooked, and look, the back judge is looking right there. Why don't you throw that flag? It's pretty clear.
Instead, there's an injury, and it's second down with 3:46 left. Nebraska needs 2 touchdowns. Now they have all their timeouts, so they score quick enough. They don't necessarily have to try the onside kick.
Boy, and you got to feel for Alonzo Moore because he knew coming into this game that the likelihood was that he was going to get hit on that shoulder. And earlier in the game he went down hard, came back in, he's gutting it. This should be a 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line for Nebraska.
Second down, Nebraska trailing by 12. Needs 2 touchdowns, 3:46 on the clock. They have all their timeouts. Armstrong rolling out, in trouble. Gets out of trouble inside the 30 and steps out. So gained only a couple yards. And 3rd down and long. Nebraska in 4-down territory. And again, they went for 2 on that score earlier in the quarter with about 12 minutes left. And had they just kicked the extra point, they could get a field goal here. They wouldn't need the touchdown in this possession, but because they failed going for it early, they need 2 TDs.
It never, rarely, I won't say never, rarely works out when you go for 2 that early in the 4th quarter.
Armstrong 1 of 6 on 3rd down, 3rd and 7. And wide open was Morgan. They gave him a lot of cushion. That was an easy pitch and catch for a 1st down to the 15-yard line.
And I'm not sure why Michigan State isn't just playing in the cover 2 defense and playing coverage, especially with how they've struggled in the back end. I understand there's a way that you play, but there's also being smart at the end of game and not putting your players that are the most suspect players on an island.
Inside 3 minutes to go. Will Michigan State stay unbeaten? In command right now. Armstrong off a pump fake. Gonna fire a back shoulder throw that's incomplete. Brandon Riley, the intended receiver. Colhoun in coverage again. Armstrong has been up and down tonight. Got a 2nd and 10. At the 15-yard line, Nebraska trying to avoid its 7th loss in the regular season. Last time that happened was 2007. That's the only time it's happened in the last 50 years here at Nebraska. Armstrong to the end zone, and it's incomplete. That was Edmondson who broke it up. Morgan, the intended receiver.
Boy, finally good position by Edmondson. He's on the outside, man coverage every single snap of this game. Breaks it up. Key is getting his head back. See him get his head back, and then he's able to hand fight. If his head wasn't turned back at the quarterback and you're hand fighting, now that's going to be called a penalty. Or maybe no penalty based on what we just saw.
Right. 2 more chances here for Nebraska to get into the end zone. They can still get a 1st down, of course. Armstrong on 3rd down over the middle. Morgan's got it. Dives for the end zone, and they're going to mark him down at the 2. It'll be 1st and goal from the 2 with 2:39 on the clock. Nebraska trying to get up there and run a play. And he's definitely down. Good call.
Yeah, get that play called. You want to keep that personnel. Trying to substitute personnel now. I think there's 12 players on the field for Michigan State.
And there comes the flag as Newby is dropped short of the goal line. But you're right, Grease, and that's why the flag was down. We saw on the last drive a player run off then run back on, the same player for Michigan State, because they weren't sure if they had too many on, and they actually had 11. This time there definitely were more men than allowed on the field defensively.
Illegal substitution. 12 players on defense. Half the distance to the goal, repeat 1st down.
Yeah, you can see there's 9 guys in there and three DBs. That's why I like trying to get a timeout from Mark D'Antoni. That's why I like when offenses go fast inside the 5, because it's very difficult for defenses to substitute 35 yards away.
That clock is running right now. 1st and goal. And Newby is stood up. They don't want to have to use their timeouts as Reschke made the hit. Nebraska's got to hurry. You got to get up there. You're at 2:08.
You also want to get a good play call, though, too. So you have to throw the ball here. Get Tommy Armstrong on the edge. That's how he ran it in last time.
It's Newby, and
short.
He's short.
You got to call timeout.
Tackled by Harris. I don't think you used your timeouts yet. But you got to get up there and snap it on 3rd down. They're going to call a timeout.
Yeah, you got to take a timeout. Just you need to get this ball in the end zone, and you need to get a good play call. You've run 2 plays that have gone nowhere. You need a good call.
And definitely down there. So it'll be 3rd and goal from the 1. They put a few seconds back on the clock. So 1:50 to go. 2 timeouts left for Nebraska. Let's look at our college football playoff rankings brought to you by Allstate. Week number 1 from the selection committee, but things will shift depending on what happens in the LSU-Alabama game. Bama up by 10 right now in the second half. TCU lost. Big win for Clemson at home over Florida State. It'll be interesting to see how the committee views that Thursday night game for Baylor at Kansas State, where it looked like the Bears were going to pull away. K-State made it close.
Yeah, I think that no team's going to go through the whole year and just blow everybody out. I mean, we see teams that are going to have a loss, like Alabama. I think impressive on that list also was Notre Dame. Deshaun Kaiser had a great game.
Yeah. Handful of touchdown passes for Kaiser. 3rd and goal for Nebraska. Armstrong going to keep it, and he'll make it into the end zone for the touchdown.
And that's why I like that timeout there. You're going to need to get an onside kick here to get back in this game, and those timeouts may not even be necessary. And you need to get a great play call on 3rd down there. Probably, Dave, call 2 plays on the sideline. If you didn't get in there, the next play was already called. So I just like everybody getting on the same page in big situations like that.
There's definitely that school of thought. The other one was save your timeouts in case you don't get the onside kick. That way you could get the ball back with a 3 and out.
Right.
Hard to do with just 2 timeouts, as the extra point makes it a 5-point game with 1:47 on the clock.
One touchdown
tells you about the respect that they have for the new vision going forward.
Well, again, the BYU on opening day, the Hail Mary, 3 2-point losses, 2 1-point losses, 1 2-point losses. Nebraska goes for the onside kick here, and that was too easy. Wow, Demetrius Cox had no trouble covering that up. And so Michigan State will have it. Nebraska can stop the clock twice. This week on Sunday NFL Countdown, as Peyton Manning returns to Indy, it turns out his impact ran far deeper than just his play on the field. Meet the dozens of high school players named Peyton throughout the state of Indiana. Sunday NFL Countdown following NFL Insiders. It all starts at 10 a.m. on ESPN tomorrow.
It's not that bad, is it?
Well, people here in Nebraska, they expect a lot, and so does the administration. Bo Pelini won 7 games or more every year and was fired. Michigan State had to run it, and Nebraska will use a timeout here as Holmes is stacked up after a 1-yard gain. Let's check in with Adnan. All right, 1 timeout left, Adnan, for Nebraska with 1:40 to go. It's 2nd and 9 for Michigan State. Let's bring Tom in again.
You know, guys, such a great tradition here. A lot of winning, a lot of years of sustained success, but there are some challenges too. Let's take a look at some of those challenges in recruiting. So you take a look at the footprint for Nebraska. Look at the amount of ESPN 300 prospects that have come out over the last 5 classes, not only in Nebraska, but in the states that surround and connect to Nebraska. Then transition that to how many of those prospects ended up committing and signing with the University of Nebraska. When you see numbers that are that low, that means that Nebraska is going to have to go an entirely different direction and widen their net as they cast it out for prospects, which is a very, very difficult thing to do in today's college football landscape.
Holmes is stopped, Tom, so Nebraska uses its final timeout. It's 3rd and long. Let's see if Michigan State keeps it on the ground or decides to throw it here. And Nebraska could get the ball back if the Spartans can't pick up a first down. Tom, go ahead.
Well, guys, I think the one thing that is really glaring when you look at this predicament for Nebraska going forward in recruiting is look at the average miles away from campus of the signees for the University of Nebraska. 837 miles. Now look at the average miles away from campus for the rest of the college football world and the Power 5 conferences. It's almost 3 times as much. So in a world where you're so dependent upon sophomore and junior year early unofficial visits, this puts Nebraska at a distinct disadvantage in recruiting.
Well, they're at a disadvantage right now with no timeouts left. If Michigan State gets a first down, the game is over. If you're the Spartans, what are you calling here? Are you just going to run it? Or
you got to run the football, and make sure you take those complete 40 seconds off the clock, and then you'll pooch it down inside the 10 and make them go the length of the field.
With about 40 seconds or so. But let's see. Connor Cook going to hand it off to Jamal Lyles at tight end, and there's a flag down. Lyles is tackled at the 43-yard line by Byerson Cockrell.
They're going to get Donovan Clark for a hold.
But you stopped him. It's 4th down. You got to decline this, right?
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
So Nebraska will get another shot. It was interesting that they decided to hand it off to a tight end.
Yeah, on an end around. I think they were just trying to maybe catch him by surprise. These fans, they realize that there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
Well, there'll be about a minute left when they get the football here. And Jordan Westerkamp is the deep man for Nebraska. Hartbarger had a 60-yard punt, but it went into the end zone for a touchback. They don't want that here. They want to. There's a flag down. Delay a game taken by Michigan State.
5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Now the clock will start on the snap.
That penalty by Donovan Clark cost about 25 seconds because you have the 40-second clock which would have run down, but instead penalty and you start the 25-second clock. So that penalty, while it looked innocuous, cost seconds, valuable seconds in this game.
It's been an interesting year on special teams for Sparty. Hartbarger's punt heading to the sideline, and it checks up. Goes out of bounds around the 9-yard line. So Nebraska 91 yards away from an upset. But no timeouts and only 55 seconds to work with. Nebraska has been attacking the Michigan State DBs all game long.
Yep, and this will be no different. So does Mark D'Antonio decide to play a little bit more conservative on the back end with a little bit of zone and protect these young corners? Edmondson is in, as well as Calhoun. Cox at safety, and they've got Monte Nicholson at the other safety. There's been 3 or 4 different combinations, and Mark D'Antonio is going to take a timeout here, maybe to talk about how they're going to play in this 2-minute situation.
It's interesting, though, Brian, that you 3 guys on the back end that are true freshmen started the game. None are in right now because those guys have been beaten, and obviously he trusts the veterans even though they may not be as good or as talented as those freshmen.
Well, we've seen Edmondson get beat. We've seen Tyson Smith get beat for a touchdown. We've seen these officials be pretty lenient with the way that they've called in man-to-man situations. So if I'm Nebraska, I'm going to continue to throw that ball up on those guys and maybe at worst get a PI call.
Well, Nebraska fans are used to this, right? A close game.
Yep.
That's a chance finally for the Cornhuskers to have a different outcome.
I think if you would have told them that, you know, in prime time against a top 10 football team that you'd have a chance down 5 at the end of the game to go win it, I think they would have taken that at the beginning of the game.
And again, remember that failed 2-point play? They would have just needed, if they had converted that, they would just have a field goal needed to tie the game. Got to go 91 yards. Armstrong looking deep, and Westerkamp is open. The clock will stop to move the chains. Ball is at the 36. 49 seconds left.
So they did try to play zone. Great job by Tommy Armstrong, and Westerkamp reading it and just settling in that zone.
Clock started on the ready for play. It's at 44. Pressure coming from Michigan State. Armstrong got a man. Westerkamp. He's to the 30-yard line. Clock will stop as they move the sticks with 37 seconds left. Westerkamp is hurt.
Michigan State brought a lot of pressure there. Mark D'Antonio, it's pretty clear he's conflicted on the sideline, and hopefully Westerkamp is okay. But a great read back-to-back by both Westerkamp and by Tommy Armstrong. Remember, Westerkamp went into the locker room at the end of the first half and was evaluated for a concussion and sent through the protocol, and now he's come back out and taken another hit.
No second runoff in this situation with the injury to Westerkamp on the catch. Ball is at the 30-yard line of Michigan State. No timeouts. 37 seconds left in the ball game. The first down stopped the clock. That's why no 10-second runoff.
Well, your Westerkamp going off, trying to get this crowd into it. They're back into this game.
143 receiving yards for Westerkamp, but he's got to sit out for at least this play. Nebraska 30 yards away from an upset. Michigan State undefeated, ranked 7th. And the Spartans 8-0. Armstrong with time. Armstrong airing it out, and it is intercepted and then dropped. Calhoun could not keep it as he hit the ground, so it's incomplete. Armstrong throw it up for grabs.
Wow. Plenty of time in the pocket, and this is the play that Calhoun needs to make. It's right there in his hands. Would have been a great catch. He had it.
Another complete the catch to the ground. He did not. D'Antonio thought it was over. 23 seconds left. Armstrong, and the receiver was out of bounds. He caught it. It's a touchdown, but he stepped out. Was he pushed out? That'll be the question. Brandon Riley into the end zone, but he stepped out of bounds around the 5-yard line. The officials are having a discussion.
I don't know that he was pushed out. It didn't look like he was physically pushed out, Dave, and if that be the case, then he cannot come back in and be the first person to catch that football. Take a look down here. He's running. The defensive back is looking back. He's not pushing him out of bounds. He clearly just runs out of bounds.
The receiver was forced out of bounds, came back in and reestablished himself as a player. Caught the pass for a touchdown.
So they ruled that he was forced out of bounds, and it's a touchdown for Nebraska. Unbelievable. The Huskers had the lead with 17 seconds left.
You think about all of the calls and all of the balls that have gone against Nebraska this season. And finally, they get one call. They get one call that goes their way. I think it's the wrong call.
I think so too.
I don't think he was forced out at all because the defensive back is looking back for the football.
The ruling on the field was the pass receiver was forced out of bounds, came back in, established presence, caught the ball for a touchdown. That ruling is under further review.
They can review this. They can look at this. I do not think he was pushed out. I think the ruling on the field was incorrect, but now it's up to replay. Tom Kissinger, the replay official.
Here they are right here. Clearly, that defensive back is looking back. So if you're looking back for the football and the receiver is behind you, how do you force him out of bounds? He has every right to run the field as the receiver does, and Riley just goes out of bounds and then comes back in. So
they can't review whether it's push or whether there was the push by the defender by Edmondson. So I'm not sure what they're looking at. I mean, he definitely stepped out. If you can't review what the push, whether there was a push or not by the defender, then what are you looking at?
Yeah, you can't review the penalty.
He definitely stepped out. I don't know why they would take this long to see whether he stepped out. We could clearly see that initially. And the official threw the hat. And when you see the official throw that hat, that's because he saw the receiver step out of bounds. And then it comes down to whether or not they believe he was forced out or whether he went out on his own.
Yeah,
He's out of bounds
Edmondson has
After
every
further
right to
review,
run that.
the ruling of the field of touchdown stands.
Michigan State down with 17 seconds left.
Boy, and that's got to be a tough one for that replay official to review, because he knows that
it was a bad call.
Yeah, that was a bad call, and you can't review the penalty and the push, or the lack of a push.
So again, what they were looking at a replay was to see whether he definitely went out, which is what we could see all along. Armstrong in trouble, spins out of a tackle, on the run, and the pass is broken up.
Well, you got to throw that away. If you're going for 2 points,
Yes.
you're up 1. If you throw an interception, they run it back there, you lose the football game. Holy cow.
Darian Harris broke it up. Dangerous throw by Armstrong. Already threw 1 interception on the goal line earlier in the game.
It's 39-38 Huskers, and if Darian Harris makes this interception, he's got nothing but green, or that's Cox, nothing but green grass to the other end zone.
So now, 17 seconds. Michigan State does have 2 timeouts, and they can win the game on a field goal.
Boy, we're just talking about all of the bad bounces that have gone against the Huskers, and you love to remind me about this, the good bounces that Michigan State has gotten this year. You know, just saying, things kind of have a way.
They do usually work themselves out. Michigan State with 2 wins by a field goal, and then cover your ears, the fumble recovery in Ann Arbor with no time left, return for a touchdown. Nebraska with 3 losses by 2 points or less. They lost in a Hail Mary. They lost in overtime. 4 losses on the final play. Are they going to escape here with a win? 17 seconds left. We'll see if they kick it deep. R.J. Shelton is the deep man. He's standing at about the 15-yard line. And it's a liner that's fielded at the 25. So out to the 41-yard line with 14 seconds left is Monte Nicholson. Let's check in with Adnan quickly. Boy, I'm really surprised he didn't try to kick it deep there.
That was a great play by Monte Nicholson. He caught that ball. It was a wiffle ball coming down the field. He caught the ball, and now that it's at the 41-yard line, 1 completion puts them in position to attempt a game-winning field goal. That's a huge play by him.
Michael Geiger's career long is 49. Connor Cook, the ball in his hands. 4 touchdown passes on the day. 14 seconds left. The Spartans have 2 timeouts remaining. They're down 1. Their undefeated season at stake. Cook back to throw, steps up, over the middle, it's caught! The clock stops to move the chains with 7 seconds left. Ball at the 41-yard line of Nebraska.
They're going to take a timeout, Michigan State. And how many big plays has McGarrett Kings made in this game? 2 big touchdowns. Again and again, Connor Cook with time in the pocket, and he's finding these receivers, and they're making plays.
Geiger made a 46-yarder earlier. Career long, as we mentioned, is 49.
Got a decision to make here, Dave. 7 seconds.
Can you run a quick play to the sideline?
You can. You know,
at 5 or 6 yards.
You can, absolutely. That ball's got to come out quick. Now, if I'm Nebraska, I'm telling them to defend the sideline.
Well, I guess you don't have to throw to the sideline. You got the timeout.
You still got a timeout. Absolutely.
Throw it to the middle of the field if you want.
But if you throw it to the middle of the field, you got to go down.
Yeah, true.
You've got to go down.
Nebraska missing the two-point conversion on the last touchdown. So Michigan State in position. They can get a few more yards to give Michael Geiger a shot to win it. Ball at the 41-yard line with 7 seconds to go.
I like throwing a quick slant, on the weak side and just telling my receiver that after you catch that ball, get up and get down.
Cook back to throw. Looking, pumps, in trouble, gets rid of it, and is there any time left?
Nope.
No, it's over! Nebraska pulls the upset! Mark D'Antonio arguing there should be 1 second on the clock. That was a poor job by Connor Cook. You've got to get rid of that ball. You've got to know how much time is on the clock, right?
Absolutely. That has to be talked about on the sideline before you ever run this football play. You're going to throw it quickly. If nothing's there, you throw it in the ground, throw it out of bounds. But right now, it's not there. Ball almost came out of his hands. Now here goes the ball out of bounds. You're at 1 second, 0.